the 2016 Safina, Florida Winter Tour. Presented by Fixie Wheels. In partnership with Motorsport.com and Ritmo Mundo. Live from Ocala, Florida, here's Tony Laporta.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Ocala Grand Prix here in Ocala, Florida. My name is Tony Laporta. We want to welcome everybody watching live at home on Motorsport.com. You've tuned in just in time for the start of qualifying here at the second round of the Rok Cup USA portion of the 2016 Safina Foods Florida Winter Tour presented by Fixie Wheels. Of course, we want to thank our official media partner, Motorsport.com, for bringing you this live broadcast, as well as our official timekeeper of Max Speed Promoted Events, Ritmo Mundo. On track behind me now, Masters Rock drivers are completing their opening laps of qualifying. We're going to bring you live timing as they continue to lay down their laps. We've got qualifying for all of our classes today, followed up by one round of heat races before we close things up for the day. So again, welcome everybody to today's live broadcast of round two of the 2016 Safina Foods Florida Winter Tour here in Ocala. So as you see a live look right there of the final turn here at Ocala Grand Prix, Masters Rock drivers are out on the track now, starting to lay down their first couple flying laps here in our qualifying session. The Florida Winter Tour adopting a new event format in 2016 compared to the 2015 schedule. Most weekends last year we would show up, qualify on Friday in the Rotax weekends, we'd qualify on Friday, and then on the Rock weekends, you'd qualify Saturday morning, run a pre-final, run your final, and then you do the same on Sunday. Rotax was a little bit differently. We'd qualify for both days on Friday and then just show up and race on Saturday and Sunday, but they were separate race days at the end of the weekend. Here in 2016, it's more of a championship European-style weekend format. Qualify and run a heat race on Friday afternoon. Then it's heat races on Saturday, 2 and 3. And then you show up on Sunday, and you're on a pre-final to set the grid for the main event, which is run finally on Sunday afternoon. So the event format for the Florida Winter Tour changing in 2016. We ran this format here at Ocala last year on the final weekend of the Florida Winter Tour. Went over with a lot of success. Drivers enjoyed it. So Garrett Potter, Richard Beauclair, and the staff here at Max Speed decided, well, if it went well once, it can probably go well 3 times. And that is what we're running throughout the entire 2016 Sofina Foods Florida Winter Tour. On track, Anthony Honeywell, the Oklahoma driver, quick early, 38.541 last time by. He's a 38.2 overall. That's his best lap. That's got him on top right now. And then you see Evandro Di Matteo in the 6:32. He's second quick. PCR driver Adam Pettit from the Northeast is third. Andre Duick on the 6:18 is fourth. And then Daniel Reiger rounds out your fast five. Mark Julian is sixth. Josh Martin seventh. Ryan Gordon, Drew Neubauer, and Andres Salazar round out the top 10 as we work our way through Masters Rock qualifying. We do have a few drivers that need to report to the steward's office. It looks like the 441 of Alden, the 595 of Jansen, and the 391 of Nicastro. Again, the 441 in Alden, the 595 of Jansen, and the 391 in Nicastro. Drivers, if you can hear that announcement in the pit area, you are needed in the steward's office. Looks like a good shot right there of the Praga 675, Josh Martin, as he works his way out of turn 4 now to the tight infield section. There's the right-hander. Turn number 5, he'll set up for another 180, the turn 6 corner right there. And down a short street, you cross over to the other side. You hit the tree, turn number 7. Over a left-handed kink, turn 8 right there before you enter the carousel. Turn number 9, it's a long sweeping corner. And then down the front straightaway. Very wide track here at Ocala Grand Prix. It's a tight, very short circuit. And they made up for that by making it very wide, very raceable. Guys are able to get 2, 3, 4 wide easily going down the front straightaway here at OGP. So once we get into our heat races, pre-finals, and finals this weekend, the wheel-to-wheel action is going to be intense. We saw great racing in Homestead karting just about 3 weeks ago when we kicked things off. That is once the rain went away and everybody dried off. Friday, qualifying and heat races were canceled back at Homestead last month due to torrential downpours. But everything has been looking nice and sunny here in Ocala since we showed up a few days ago. Teams that arrived last week to test were greeted by pretty cool temperatures. If you're from the state of Florida, it was in the mid-50s, I believe, all week last week. But this week so far it's been very warm. Yesterday was in the upper 60s, low 70s. Today it's a little bit more overcast. As you can see, the wind blowing across the straightaway. But overall, much better weather than teams had seen last week while they were here testing. Checkered flag flies to end our first qualifying session of the afternoon, and it's no surprise the 677 of Anthony Honeywell ends on top, 38.268 for the Honey Badger. Evandro Di Matteo ends up second. Adam Pettit on the PCR ends up third, and then it's Andre Duick fourth. Daniel Reiger rounds out your fast five as drivers hit the scale line. Just off track exit. 6 is going to be Drew Neubauer, 7th Mark Julian, 8th is Josh Martin, Ryan Gordon 9th, and then Andres Salazar rounds out the top 10 here in Masters Rock qualifying. Coming up next, it's going to be Senior Rock. Those drivers had 3 rounds of practice this morning before the lunch break, and now they will present to the grid to prepare for their timed qualifying session. We were able to enjoy his presence in Homestead last month, and we're lucky to have him back here again this weekend in Ocala. Chris Wheeler. Ladies and gentlemen, Chris, how are you?
Good, man. Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's been an awesome weekend here in Ocala. Got in about 2 days ago. The weather's been awesome. I understand you guys have been here for a while, and it's been a little less than ideal the past couple days.
Yeah, it can be cold. I don't mind it as long as it's not raining. In fact, that's why we came in a little early. Had to spend a full day or so just cleaning up all the stuff over there in the Kuna USA pit. So nice to get a jump start on it, though, make it a little bit easier when the rest of the guys showed up. And I'm really happy, man, to be honest with you. The sun's out. It may not be the most perfect of days, but a light breeze, sunshine, a couple clouds, and one amazing racetrack right here in Ocala, Florida.
Man, I'm happy too, Chris. Today's been a great day. I'm super happy. I was given just a tray full of bacon today, and that made my day fantastic. There's a couple of the drivers you're going to see in Senior Rock qualifying. Alden Galley in that 304 and his teammate in the 303, Lane Sistelli. Man, they had a fantastic weekend in Homestead last month. And you've just got a really loaded field here. The 322, Zach Holden. The 328, Kyle Kirkwood, has been unstoppable. No surprise when you come here to his team's home track of Ocala Grand Prix. You got the 391 of Andre Nicastro, Dominic Tesoro, another driver out of the Northeast, Julia Boos, a really stacked Senior Rock field, and they're already out there laying down laps. The 322 with Zach Holden goes purple, first lap out, 38.877 for the 322. It's a loaded group of Senior Rock drivers this weekend, Chris.
Yeah, I'm really pumped that we get to qualify for one. Just I think the racing was good, obviously. The last round, there was a little bit of drama here and there. But if you thought Kyle Kirkwood was good in Homestead, boy, you better look out. That young man probably logs about 10,000 laps a year here, as well as the rest of his full-time Ocala Grand Prix teammates. And you can tell. You really can. I mean, I've been watching a lot of practice sessions over on the backside of the racetrack, Tony, and one of the big things you watch is how hard some of these guys are driving, just trying to keep up. This racetrack is not about how hard you can hustle. It's about how well you can manage yourself. Just kick back, relax, and let the go-kart do the work.
It seems to be a very finesse-style racetrack, Chris. I think you're very correct on that. As you see a shot right here of what would be about turn 3 into that left-hand 180 right there, turn 4, and then the right-hander turn 5. It is a very technical track here, and a lot of finesse, I have to imagine, goes into this track. But then you also have your high-speed sections right there, down the back straightaway, into the turn 9 carousel, down the front straight, and right there into turn 1. It's very much a balanced racetrack, I imagine.
Yeah, you really can get yourself in trouble here by trying to overdrive a lot of these corners. One of the phrases I prefer to use with some of these younger guys, at least, is, if you've ever driven a Yamaha, you know how to roll momentum, and it's really what it is. It's easy in, hard off, and you got to let the go-kart kind of do its natural thing. Let it kind of flow left to right a little bit on the exits, and you've got to be aware of where the passing opportunities really are, because it presents itself a lot. There's only maybe 2 or 3 spots that you could truly take advantage of it and not lose all your momentum.
So as we check back in on the leaderboard here, Victor Franzoni from PK Sports, one of the Mazda Road to Indy drivers, doing a little bit of moonlighting here this weekend. He was fastest for a little while. I talked to his tuner, Andre Pedrosa, down on the grid during practice this morning, and I asked him how they were doing. Pedrosa said, man, we've been second. We've been right there all week. But there's one guy we're chasing, and they're chasing him once again as OGP ace Kyle Kirkwood goes to the top of the charts with a 36.846. Kirkwood on top. Franzoni falls another spot down to third as it's Luis Jose Forteza up to second. Ryan Norberg fourth, and then Dominic Tesoro in fifth. Zach Banks sixth. Zach Holden in seventh. Mauricio Hernandez eighth. Sterling Fairman and Brandon Collins round out your top 10 here as we have still over 4 minutes to go in qualifying. But Chris, man, you talked about it. If you thought Kirkwood was good in Homestead, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Yeah, that young man has the ability to put this Tony Kart, prepped by Ocala Grand Prix, on rails around this bull ring of a racetrack. And Tony, one of the big things that I truly love about coming here to Ocala, obviously I heard you mention earlier about the racing surface, and the professional crew. The bubbly smiles when you come in the front door. But the fact that it's one of the only tracks in North America that puts as long on making sure that the pits are detailed and in order as anything else, man. I can't fill a trash can fast enough. I mean, these guys are on it, and it's complete hats off to Jorge and the entire staff that he's put together here over the years. Every year we come back, it gets better and better, and hopefully we can have some great racing from this point on through the end of next weekend.
Oh, man, Ocala Grand Prix played a great host for the final weekend of the Winter Tour last year. That was probably one of the funnest weekends I've had at a racetrack, was the last 2 weekends of the Winter Tour here last year. And I'll tell you what, the guys at Homestead Karting, I think Homestead is the perfect place to kick off the Winter Tour. The racing is always fantastic. It's so close. Both weekends, Rok and Rotax last month in Homestead were phenomenal. But I'll tell you what, no matter when you come here to OGP, it's going to be a great time. And you're right, Chris. It's a professional staff, over almost 20 full-time professional employees. And some of those employees are making those go-karts go awful fast for these kids that are driving them. Kyle Kirkwood goes purple once again, 36.799 for Kirkwood. Luis Jose Forteza stays in second. Franzoni maintains third. Norberg and Tesoro, no change really there in the top 5 as we come down to see 2.5 minutes to go. We watch drivers make their way through a very fast turn 1 before you have to set up for a fast chicane, right-hand turn number 2, and then you enter the infield section right there, turn 3. There's a group moving through turn 4. There's a shot of the tree turn number 6, 7, before you set up for the carousel at the very end of the straightaway, turn number 9, and shoot back down the straightaway here. Beautiful shot of the carousel right there. Blue skies, few clouds up there, but man, it's just perfect weather here this weekend, I feel like, Chris.
Yeah, and as this session is now 2 minutes, less than 2 minutes, not a lot of changes. Sistelli up into the 7th spot. He kind of got a late jump on the qualifying round here. Alan Galley, P11, though. So Galley back in 11th, and Sistelli up to 7th there on the tech speed machines. Not really sure what's going on there for those guys, but check that. Sistelli quicker again now to P number 6. So that's still half second off the Magic Man, the 328 of Kyle Kirkwood.
Yeah, Kyle Kirkwood at 36.799 right now, and then you have Forteza in second. He's 1/10 off at 36.9. Franzoni's a 37.1, so you've only got 2 drivers right now lapping in sub-37-second brackets. It's a pretty fast track that you can hustle yourself around here at OGP, and as we've said, there's not many out there better to do it than Kyle Kirkwood. One of the drivers who may be just as good, if not possibly a little bit better, Oliver Askew, former OGP driver. We're going to see him racing again this weekend, but he will be in the extremely competitive Rock Shifter Senior category. He debuted in that kart 1 year ago at this race at the Rock Cup finale of the Florida Winter Tour last year in March, and he's returning to be in that kart again this season. Can't wait to see Oliver and that Rock Shifter Senior group as they get ready to battle. 30 seconds to go here in qualifying. We have a guest appearance in the tower. The one and only Josh Huff has stopped by to check in on timing and scoring, folks. Yes, that's right. If you're from the West Coast or you've ever been to a go-kart race, you've ever heard someone talking but you looked out and you couldn't see him in your field of vision until you lowered your head, that would be Josh Huff. He's in the tower, and he's just left. So he's got to go get his driver, Riker, ready for mini rock, micro rock qualifying. I don't know who's Huff tuning on.
Micro rock.
Micro rock, not mini.
Micro.
Riker's a small kid.
A very awesome kid, though, man. I just seeing the look on his face. He's the only kid that I've ever had around that he'll come off the track with a smile, and then I'll go over his video with him, and he'll kind of look at me funny, and then he'll smile again. I'm like, all right, bud, well, let's keep digging.
Riker Mattis, the Kuna USA driver for Josh Huff. There you see the checkered flag flying as that ends our Senior Rock qualifying session. 36.799 for OGP ace Kyle Kirkwood. I don't think that's a big surprise to anybody, Chris, do you?
Not at all. It's funny. I talked to Kyle earlier on after the first time session. I was like, dude, really? Like, you couldn't just hang out for a couple practices, let these guys feel good about themselves? He's like, why? Was I fast? I said, dude, you got 3/10 on the field. He goes, oh, well, wait till I actually try.
Wow.
So Kirkwood definitely full of confidence here this weekend. See, sets the pace in Rock Senior. So a fantastic job by the Florida native, the factory pilot here for Ocala Grand Prix. I just can't get over how much better everybody's moods are now that we are removed from Tsunami Central down there in South Florida.
Yeah, it is funny. It's obviously nobody's happy to not be in Homestead. They're just happy to not have 6 inches of rainwater in their driving shoes and their boots and their helmets and their gloves and everything. So it's nice to be here in Central Florida. A lot sunnier. A little bit of wind still going on, but it's just enough to keep the edge off. And when you put all that weather on top of a beautiful racetrack like the one we have here at OGP, it's going to be a pretty good weekend. Senior Rock qualifying now in the books.
So one thing you talked about was the rain. Obviously, no time in the future we're going to forget about the weather at Homestead.
Absolutely not.
But it's funny because if wherever you live around the world, if it's been sunny for a little while, then it rains or it snows, and you're in traffic and you're yelling because some idiot drove it off the racetrack. You ought to see a go-kart mechanic from the West Coast come to Florida. I mean, those poor guys haven't seen rain in like 4 years, and they come to Homestead to a go-kart race, and it's like a duck getting in water for the first time. They know what's going on, but they're so amazed by it. So that was one thing I noticed down there in Homestead. All the West Coast Best Coasters just really struggled with the fact that it was actually raining from the skies and not from their neighbor's hose that they're stealing water from.
Well, and if you're from the West Coast like Josh Huff is, and you're also very close to the ground like Josh Huff is, when it starts to rain even a little bit, you start to get worried because if you can't swim,
and you're Josh Huffside, you're going to have a bad day.
Absolutely.
So on the track now, it is going to be Mini Rock Group 1. We are having to split these guys because there's so many of them signed up and so many of them wanted to come out and race with us. So Group 1 is out on the track now. Yusuf Mula from Charlie Swain's pit is quickest driver 1 lap in. The number 121 lays down a 43 flat. Ryan Rackley is second quick. Then you got Justin Arsenault, Alejandro Cirillo, Nicholas Pino. As Ashton Chilton makes a jump all the way up to P2 with a 43.250. Yusuf Mula was having a lot of mechanical issues during the practice session. They're having a little bit of a hard time getting that cart fired up to get going. But you know what? It's okay because they found the speed in it now, and he's running very well. He goes purple on lap number 2, 40.922. So Mula is digging right now. Ryan Rackley in second, Arsenault third, Alejandro Cirillo up to fourth, Pino is fifth, Jason Wellage sixth, William Robusto, Enzo Schianti, Santiago Juarez, and Donald Wharton round out your top 10 here in Mini Rock qualifying, Chris. There you see the field making their way through the turn 4, 180, and there's just a bunch of back and forth right here. Turn 4 is a left-hander. Turn 5 around the tree is a right-hander 180, and then you get spit out of turn number 6. There's turn 7, the tree turn, over a little dog leg, left-handed turn number 8, and then right there, the turn 9 carousel. That image does a pretty good job of depicting how long that corner is. The drivers are in the wheel there for quite a few seconds, trying to make that cart rotate and turn. And Chris is our resident tuner, mechanic extraordinaire, jack of all trades, master of none, I think some people have called you. When you have a big, long, sweeping corner like that, these carts are tricycles. They're turning on 3 wheels. How hard is it to get a cart to rotate all the way through that long corner?
Getting the go-kart to rotate, honestly, is not that hard of a deal at all. The problem becomes trying to convince the kid that it's okay. You know, it's 99.9% of the time, getting the go-kart to do and the motor to do its job is not difficult. They're designed to do it. The third element, which is the driver, depending on the age, usually becomes the most difficult part. It's getting the driver to kind of do it the way that, you know, whoever's working for them says they should do it, or the way that they think they should be doing it. You know, obviously, it's no different than anything else in life, Tony. You could look at 100 different topics, and you and I are probably going to have different opinions on both of them, and that's just things that we've learned throughout our lives.
Right.
Well, no different than when you're driving down the road, and maybe you're the guy that speeds, maybe you're the guy that runs the speed limit. Well, with these kids, especially the younger ones, you know, you get them out here in the go-kart, and getting the go-kart to do the job is pretty simple, honestly. A lot of it just comes down to getting the driver to do it the right way and break some of those possible bad habits they've already developed at a young age. That's what's hard.
Well, you bring up great points, Chris. And when I was brought into karting, I was kind of baptized by fire by a few guys in the Colorado karting community, Rick Schmidt and Kurt Kistler. Some of the people in the pits and some of you watching at home will recognize those names. And Rick and Kurt would always describe karting as sorting. Rick always believed karting and racing, you know, you were sorting. You were sorting out the kids who could do a certain thing well, and you were sorting out kids that could do another thing well. And that is just one of the coolest things about this sport is you find out who's good at one thing, who's good at another. As we check back in on the track now, we're going to take a look, and folks, at the top of the charts with a purple lap, 40.375. It's my favorite name to say in all of karting, ladies and gentlemen. Caleb Bacon goes purple. The Tennessee driver lays down a 40.375. Great lap room. Derek Carmonante is in second, and then Justin Arsenault third. Ashton Chilton still bouncing around right there in the top 5. The Tony Kart driver fourth currently. And then on the Bennick, the number 131, Ryan Rackley is fifth. But it's Caleb Bacon on top of the time charts right now, 40.375 with over 7 minutes still to go here in qualifying.
You know, I talked to Ryan Rackley yesterday afternoon briefly. It was a great shot there of Carmonante, I believe, on the Bennick. And talking to Ryan Rackley, I asked him, you know, he was with us at CUNY USA last year, and he's now switched over to be in the Bennick program. And how's your day, buddy? He goes, oh, it's okay. I said, come on, man, you know this track. What's going on? He goes, well, my dad didn't want to buy me a new set of practice tires, so he flipped them on the rim, and, well, it didn't work. So now he's going to buy me new tires. So apparently the new tires are working here. He got enough practice on new rubber. He's sitting here in 6th spot. But Wellage into 3rd now. So Jason Wellage, the 105 top cart, into 3rd. Carmonante 2nd. Bacon still out in front. But you want to talk about a kid who just made every right decision possible. At Homestead Karting, that was Derek Carmonante in the 134 Bennick. Definitely looking forward to the racing here later today and throughout the rest of the weekend. I'm really pumped to see what kind of show he can put on.
Those Bennett frames have done absolutely phenomenal here in these mini and micro level ranks of karting. So it's been a lot of fun to watch these guys. Caleb Bacon still on top here as we still have about 5.5 minutes to go. Long 12-minute sessions here in mini and micro qualifying.
So, Tony, as we look back here, is on your monitor at home, I believe that is Bacon and Carminante. Carminante now going to go to the bottom. He's tired of following. He's going to see if he can make some clean tracks here in the fresh air in front. Maybe boost that time. As we look back here, not much changing up in front. Bacon, Carminante. Wellage, that's going to be your top three here.
You know, something else, Chris, I'm always interested to get your opinion on, and I think it's very different track styles here between Homestead Karting, long fast track, and then you have Ocala Grand Prix, a little bit more of a tight technical layout. We talked, you and I, a lot last month at Homestead about the draft. Does that play any role into the lap times here at a track like Ocala?
Well, I think the draft always has something to play no matter what size racetrack you're on here. Obviously, the straightaway here, the bull ring at Ocala Grand Prix, off the carousel, the showcase turn, as many call it. Yeah, there's definitely a big suck there that you can get headed off into turn number one into the abyss. And, but, you know, I think a lot of it, honestly, the two most important corners, Tony, on the entire racetrack to me are the tree corner, which I believe is 6, and then the showcase, the left-hander, right there in front of the main grandstand in the pit area. If you can get the run off the tree corner, carry the momentum through the showcase and down the straightaway, it's really hard to screw up a lap time. It's possible.
Yeah, I'm sure it's possible. People have said it's really hard to do this and it's really hard to screw that up all my life, and I've found ways to prove them wrong, Chris. Believe you me. As we come down to the end here, 3.5 minutes remaining. You just saw a live image of Caleb Bacon shoving Derek Carminante around the track. They're going to be coming out of turns 7 and 8 right there. They'll head for the carousel or the showcase turn, as Chris calls it. Bacon wants to take a look to the inside. Remember, this is only qualifying. It looks like Carminante pulled off and hit the scale line there, so that leaves Bacon out front by himself. He's going to come across the line there. 40.746 for Bacon. Carminante did pull off, I believe. No, yep, he's only completed 11 laps, so Carminante is done, meaning Bacon's next closest challenger is going to be Jason Wellage with a 40.468. That's less than a full tenth back from Caleb Bacon, but right now, Caleb Bacon sitting pretty here in Group 1 qualifying. And like I said, Mini Rock is going to be split. This is the first half of the Mini Rock drivers. They are the slower group from this morning's third and final practice. And then coming up immediately after this checkered flag flies will be the second group of Mini Rock drivers. They were the faster half of karts from this afternoon's final practice session. That's how we split them up for qualifying. We have a fast group and a slow group. Right now you're seeing the slower of the two halves. The faster group will be up next. Caleb Bacon with just about 2 minutes to go until he's able to lock up the provisional pole position here in Group number 1. Farther down the field, it's Ryan Rackley in 6th, William Robusto in 7th, Sebastian Montoya 8th, Yusuf Mula, your early pole sitter, is 9th, and then Nicholas Pino is 10th. Santiago Tristi 11th, Enzo Schianti 12th, Ryan Detlor, Isabella Robusto, and Donald Wharton are your top 15. Then it's Cirillo, Alcalade, Juarez, Lambros, and Menge filling out the top 20 here in Mini Rock Group number 1.
So another live shot here, a couple carts. 5 cart, 6, 7 cart train here. I think I can see Jason Wellage in the back of that one. He's going to look to the bottom into the showcase with ease as he's trying to maybe bump up from that third provisional spot.
Yeah, I don't see much changing here, Chris. as a lot of our quicker guys have pulled off. Bacon continues to lap, which honestly I'm a little confused by. I know at this point it's still very close. Carmenante is 4/100ths of a second back. Wellage 4/100ths of a second back. It's still very close. Wellage 9/100ths of a second back actually off pole time. Caleb Bacon. They come by to see less than 1 minute remaining. The clock hits 55 seconds to go. So they're going to have this lap and about this lap only before the checkered flag flies. They're lapping in about the 41, 42 second range right now. That should be Bacon, I believe, coming across. No, that's the 120 of Donald Wharton. He currently runs 15th. There you see them run through turn 1 and the right-hander turn 2 before setting up for a quick snap of the steering wheel. Turn 3, the left-hander, a quick short shoot into the left-hander, 180. Turn number 4, you see our pack make their way. They slide to the right side of the track. They have to get back to the outside to set up for the right-hander. Turn at number 5 now into 6. They'll get spit out and head for the tree. Turn number 7. They'll hit the kink, turn number 8, before setting up for the sweeper one last time. The 9th corner here at OGP. About 8 seconds remaining. We're going to be watching for our head starter here, Cameron Egger, to throw the checkered flag. It's going to be just in time for this group. There you see it. Checkered flag is going to fly over that pack of drivers, and it's not going to look like anybody's going to have anything. For your unofficial pole sitter here in Group 1 of qualifying, Jen Crawford, he got it done. Caleb Bacon gets the top spot here in Group 1 qualifying with a time of 40.375. Derek Carmenante second. Jason Wellage, good run for him up to third. And then Justin Arsenault and Ashton Chilton round out your fast 5. Ryan Rackley sixth. William Robusto in the 122 seventh. Sebastian Montoya 8th. Yusuf Mula 9th. And then Nicholas Pino round out your top 10. But Chris, as we said, this is just the Group 1 of our mini rock drivers. The quicker drivers are going to be coming up here in group number 2.
You know, I'm really anxious to see what happens here once we overlay both groups. There's a lot of heavy hitters that were in that first group, tentatively your slow group, as you said. There's just a few names I don't really understand why they were there. They could have had an issue in the time session, not sure, but I'll be really interested to see how they overlap.
Bacon ends it with a time of 40.375. We're going to see what some of these drivers and more can do here in Mini Rock Group number 2 qualifying. So stick with us, folks. We'll be back in just a short moment. Again, this is live coverage of the 2016 Sofina Foods Florida Winter Tour presented by Fixie Wheels here in Ocala, Florida. So as Mini Rock Group 2 drivers take to the track now, they're out lap before they start laying down lap times. We're going to see some pretty quick laps here. Caleb Bacon just ended that session on top. Let's take a look at the lap times from that group. Bacon ended on top with a 40.375. Carmenante was a 40.42. Wellage was a 40.46. But again, Bacon on top with a 40.37. Let's see what they can do here. Arias Duke Medjin gets jiggy with it quickly. 42.761. Obviously, that's his very first lap out. Hardly any heat in the tires. Those times are going to drop. Matias Morgado second, as it's now Devin Gomez up to the top. Agozi had the top spot for about a half a second thanks to a 42.5. But now it's Devin Gomez in the 144. 42.514 for the Bennett Kart driver. And then Duke Medjin down to third. Morgado fourth. De Tulio fifth. Kamara sixth. Gunnar Bischoff 7th, De Luca 8th, Luca Mars 9th, and then Justin White, your top 10. Now it's Kamara. Rafael Kamara in the 101 on top, 40.299. And Chris, we saw such great racing in this class last month. Rafael Kamara, Matias Morgado, all those kids, Arias Duke Medjin. Those guys were flying in Homestead, and you're going to see more of the same here. As there goes Duke Medjin for a pass coming out of what should be turn number 5. They roll through 6 now. Duke Medjin was on fire both Rock and Rotax weekends in Homestead last month. I don't expect that to change at all. Kamara on top, 40.299. They come down the straightaway. Laps continuing to click off here. 12-minute session for our mini and micro rock drivers. Lots of time here.
Yeah, definitely plenty of time to lay down a fast lap, and Tony, one of the things I see a lot of when we come here to Ocala Grand Prix is don't really need to watch the times for about 4 laps. I mean, let the kids get an opportunity to settle in. It's not like the acres and acres and acres of Homestead karting where you were pretty much sorted out first time by and you knew where you were going to run with which group and whatnot. And here it takes you 4 laps to kind of get settled in. But once you do, man, is this track fun to drive?
It looks like a lot of fun to drive. It's a heck of a lot of fun to watch racing. And like I said, last year here, at the end of the 2015 Florida Winter Tour, Ocala was perfect. I thought it was the best place to hold the season finale. It was a lot of fun to crown Rock Cup and Rotax Max Challenge champions here. That was an absolute blast. Round 2 here this month is going to be a ton of fun also, as we see drivers making their way into the infield section right there off of turn number 4. Now it's a Florida Winter Tour veteran, Reese Gold, in the number 155. He made the switch over to Bennett halfway through last season, and it seems to have worked out pretty well. Gold now on top, 40.209. Now it's another Bennett driver, Tyler Maxson, 40.105 for the 174 of Tyler Maxson. That bumps his teammate Gold down to second. Matias Morgado on the Energy to third. De Tulio is fourth aboard the AM chassis, and then Rafael Kamara on the Esprit is fifth.
Sorry for the jolt in the speakers there, folks. Tony Laporta getting clumsy with it here high above Ocala Grand Prix. In fact, if you wonder what the hollow sound was, it was actually his wallet falling off the bench. Nothing but cobwebs and empty space.
That's the last time I take you to dinner, Chris. I'll tell you that. The card just needed to be ran again, and everything was taken care of. All right, so I'll thank you to not bring that up on the air. There goes my chances of inviting anybody else to dinner.
As we look here to your monitor, just trying to pull up our live timing here, make sure everything is good to go as we wait and see. As now we should see the times and who the top 3 or 4 in this group are going to be.
Yeah, it's still Tyler Maxson up on top right now, Chris. And then Reese Gold in second. Matias Morgado third. De Tulio fourth. Kamara fifth. Jack Crawford on the Energy bumps his way up to fifth now. Kamara down to sixth. De Luca seventh. Mars White and James Agozi round out your top 10. Not to ever bring up a sore subject, but James Agozi involved in a very scary incident here at the Rock Cup portion of the Winter Tour last year, but he bounced back. He was back in time for podiums after an accident. And, man, I'll tell you what, you want to meet someone that I think micro and mini level karting is all about. James Agozi is one of the kids who just really embodies what micro and mini rock karting is all about, man. James is an awesome kid. He loves to race. He loves to talk with the officials and learn, and that's one of the best things about these junior, mini, and micro level kids, Chris, is they want to learn, they want to soak this all up, and they want to become the best drivers they possibly can. Up front, Tyler Maxson, he's doing a great job of that, as he currently holds a 3/100th of a second time advantage over Reese Gold. Morgado still third. DeTulio, Crawford, your fast 5. Outside the top 10, we see Andrew Masel in 11th, and Duke Medjin uncharacteristically outside of the top 10 in 12th. I saw his dad on the grid during practice today, Chris, and I asked Mr. Duke Medjin how things were going, and he basically said, well, they're going like they normally do. We're not fast right now, but we're going to be fast when we need to be, and I think that's a good way to look at it. Duke Medjin currently 12th, Devin Gomez 13th, Felipe Bartz 14th, and then Valeria Vargas 15th. Contacha 16th, Jankowski, Willis, Castro, and Bischoff round out your top 20 here in Group 2 of our mini Rock qualifiers. There's a shot of Jack Crawford heading out of turn number 4. We're going to see who the Bennett driver behind him is. It's the 173 right behind Crawford. That's going to be Anthony Willis out of Arizona. I misspoke last month in Homestead and called Willis out of California. He's actually an Arizona driver. So while everybody's been walking around here these last couple of weeks freezing at 50 degrees, he's just been, he's really been freezing because, man, if it's not 100 degrees or hotter, Anthony Willis is probably
So I wonder if he's like a Wildcat or a Sun Devil, or do you call him like T, because Arizona T? What do you call him? Did you call them Arizonians?
Sunny side up? I'm not sure. Arizonites, Arizonians. I just call him fast because pretty much anywhere Anthony Willis goes, he's typically fast.
So we talked about Duke Medjin here, currently, I believe, in the 12th position of his group. Not saying the cause of anything here, but I can tell you from my experience, folks, when you separate personnel in a program, you can't expect the same results. And Greg Bill not here this weekend. He was there in Homestead for the Rock portion, slated to be coming in with Duke Medjin next week in the Rotax. And I got to tell you, that man brings so much to the table. I was pretty disappointed to find out he wasn't going to be here. And could that be some of the reason why we see Duke Medjin not quite on the pace he was in Homestead?
I hadn't seen Greg around here yet this weekend, Chris. I didn't feel the ground shake as much when he was walking around this week. So obviously he's not here. And, yeah, that's a big part of it. Of course, it's many pieces to a puzzle to make something work, and Greg is just a piece in that puzzle. But I'll tell you what, I think the Duke Medjin would say he is a big piece. So Arias is going to have to do a little bit of work as you see him coming down the straightaway right now. That should be Crawford right behind him. Duke Medjin and Crawford making their way through the right-handed chicane, turn number 2 right there, and they hit the double left-handers turn 3 up along the outside of that straightaway down into turn 4, the 180-degree corner. About 3.5 minutes remaining here. Tyler Maxson looking very solid. He has pulled off the track after only 7 laps of 40.105 compared to Caleb Bacon's 40.375. So in reality, that's pretty impressive, if you ask me, Chris. The Group 1 and Group 2 times not that far off of each other.
Yeah, there's really not much separation. Okay, it's a tenth or two here and there, but, this racetrack, however, sometimes with these kids, it acts as kind of like the Talladega karting. And, like I said, there's only a couple corners you really got to worry about. The rest are pretty fundamental. And what that does is it makes it to where you truly have to be the better driver. The gaps, you can't rely all on your motor. You can't rely all on your chassis. Everybody's going to get around here pretty close, but only the best have ever been a winner here in Ocala.
There you see Crawford as he comes out of the final corner down the straightaway. Duke Medjin pulled off 2 laps ago. Crawford's still digging. He's in 5th right now, and honestly, I don't know if he's going to have enough to crawl out of the 5th position. His best time's a 40.291. His last time by was a 40.5. So he's not getting any quicker, Chris. His best lap was on the 6th circuit. He just completed his 10th. He's working 11 now. If I'm Crawford, I've got to be imagining you're going to want to pull off here soon and save some tires for once it's time to get going, to prepare for those heat races. At least that's my thinking when it comes to 3 long heat races. 1 this afternoon, and then 2 tomorrow, and then you got the pre-final final, obviously, on Sunday on a different set of tires. But, man, I'll tell you what, I'd rather have more bullets in the gun for the race than use them up all here in qualifying.
Well, Tony, you said if it was up to your thinking, that's what you thought. Well, the good news about what you do, my friend, is there's not much thinking that goes into it. Everything's pretty just visual, and you call it how you see it. So I think you're safe today, bud. I'm not going to put out the torch on you just yet.
If you can't do great things, do simple things greatly. And that's what I'm trying to do here today, Chris. I'm trying to do something simple as greatly as possible. Thanks. I think someone famous once said that. I don't know who, but I will Google it.
Was that a post-it note on the wall in the old Howard Johnson this morning in the lobby, or what?
The Howard Johnson, the host hotel for the Max Beach staff. What a fine hotel that is, and I sure do enjoy staying at all the fancy hotels that we get to occupy here on the road. Nothing like a 4-foot bathroom. I'll tell you what. Back to the action on track, though. Tyler Maxson still on top, 40.105. Reese Gold in second as we're coming down to see about a minute to go here. Going to refresh the old race monitor. Yeah, it's about 30 seconds right now to go in the qualifying session. Maxson's safe. He pulled off a while ago. He's probably already waiting to find out if he's going to tech or not. Reese Gold was on top early. He's in second now. You can be sure he'll get called into tech. And then it's Mergado, DeTulio, and Crawford, your top 5. 10 seconds remaining on the clock here. We're waiting to see Cam Egger throw him the checkers. And there you have it right there. The clock strikes 12. 12 minutes in, 12 minutes down on our Mini Rock Group 2 qualifier as the checkered flag flies. And Tyler Maxson remains on top. The number 174 Bennett driver with a good lap of 40.105 is going to earn the unofficial pole position for this weekend's heat races. Reese Gold comes home second, and then it's Mergado in third, DeTulio fourth, and Jack Crawford laying down 10 laps ends up in the 5th position. Kamara is 6th, DeLuca 7th, Luca Mars 8th, Justin White on the 132 is 9th, and then my buddy James Agozi in 10th. Andrew Masel 11th, Arias Duke Medjin is going to have to battle from the back in 12th, Devin Gomez 13th, Bartz 14th, and Vargas your top 15. Dale Contagia was 16th, Jankowski 17th, Willis, Castro, and Bischoff complete the top 20 here in Mini Rock Group 2 qualifying. So now our crack timing and scoring staff will go to work on comparing the Group 1 and Group 2 lap times. They're going to do what's referred to in the industry as merging them, and they're going to line those carts up to get you the starting grid for our heat races. And just like that, it's time to bang a few gears. Shifter Rock Senior and Master sitting under the OGP awning, getting ready to go. There you see our drivers that will make up and take to the track here in a moment. Oliver Askew, Juan Acosta, Tyler Gilbo, Austin Garrison, Danny Formal, Scott Davidson, Victor Jimenez, Michelle Legrand, only to name a few as we get ready to turn them out here for qualifying in Rock Shifter Senior and Rock Shifter Master. Stick with us, folks. I'm going to get some water.
The 2016 Safina, Florida Winter Tour. Presented by Fixie Wheels. In partnership with Motorsport.com and Ritmo Mundo.
So now on the track, it's the delicious sound of gearbox go-karts, folks. Our Shifter Rock Senior and Shifter Rock Master drivers completing their opening circuits around the track here at OGP. Oliver Askew, a few of you should know his name, 35.975. His first lap out here. That's technically his second lap. He goes purple with it. Danny Formal is second. Gianfranco Mazzafaro is third. Local driver and home track driver Austin Garrison is fourth, with Juan Acosta in the fifth position. Mayo Livingston is sixth. Nicholas Hargraves is seventh. Munoz eighth. Augusto Soto Chaparra ninth. And then Colin Daly, the Jamaican, in the 10th position. Remember, we are splitting the classes here. You have Shifter Senior and Shifter Masters. Leading the way in Shifter Masters is the 501 of Scott Davidson. Second is the 524 of Christian Bartz. Michelle Legrand falls to fourth. As for Shad Bagari on the TB cart, he goes to the top. No, now it's Legrand. Michelle Legrand throws his name into the ring. 36.980 for the Canadian. Michelle Legrand bumps Bagari off the top spot. Now it's Bartz. Christian Bartz up to the top. Boy, it is intense here in Rock Shifter Masters. Oliver Askew maintains the top spot in Shifter Senior, 35.660. And then it's Formal in second, Austin Garrison third, Colin Daly all the way up to fourth with a 35.8 great lap for the Jamaican. Mazzafaro fifth, Hargraves sixth, Acosta, Myers, Soto, Shapira, and Livingston. Your top 10. Mayo Livingston. What a proper sounding name that is. Mayo Livingston. That is I feel like it should be Mayo Livingston the fifth. It's a very proper and sounding name. We probably have an email that you can send us comments and shout outs and suggestions to. I believe it's live at floridawintertour.com. So if you have a shout out you'd like to send to your favorite driver or team, or if you'd like to hear more of Chris Wheeler, just email us at live@floridawintertour.com. And throughout the weekend we'll be bringing you those shout outs and comments and concerns. If you'd like to tweet me, you can do that also. Face4Radio. Please make the tweets appropriate. I get offended easily. Austin Garrison goes to the top. That offends Oliver Askew probably. 35.638 for Garrison. Wow, the gap is very small. 2/100ths of a second. Garrison back to Askew. Formal still in third. Daly fourth. Mazzafaro fifth. Acosta, Hargraves, Mathewson, Livingston, and Munoz. Your top 10. Don't expect Munoz to stay down there for long, folks. And then you have Scott Davidson, P1. No, now it's Legrand back on top in Rock Shifter Masters. Victor Jimenez, who I believe is working with Wes Boswell this weekend, is doing well despite who his tuner is. Christian Bartz is fourth. And then for Shad Bagari, man, these Rock Shifter Master guys are all over the place, and the competition is insanely good. Legrand, 7/100ths of a second quicker than Davidson. Very quick is Victor Jimenez. Christian Bartz fourth and Bagari fifth. Wow, those Rock Shifter Master guys, that's going to be a good race when we get down to it a little bit later today. And then Garrison still on top, out in front of Oliver Askew. That should be Gianfranco Mazzafaro, the driver, trailing right there. Let's see who this pack is coming across the line that we're going to pick up right now. Mayo Livingston in the middle of that pack. I know his helmet as they head through turn two, now up to turn three. 2 minutes, about 2.5 minutes remaining in the session here. Garrison still on top. Does Oliver Askew have anything? Now Mayo Livingston takes a look on the inside in turn 7, and that's going to hurt him more than it's going to help him. Yeah, he clears the traffic, but that's going to kill all the speed he had coming out of turn number 7 before the kink, the left-hander. Couple carts pulling off. There goes Gilbo. And then you should be following the Cosmic, the number 412 of Augusto Soto Shapira. Shuripa, I'm not sure. Augusto is how we're going to go. Soto Shuripa. Augusta Soto Shuripa. It's good to have smart people in the booth with you. Augusto is 12th, Munoz 11th. AJ Myers on the iCart. They've been doing a ton of testing. He's 10th right now. Mayo Livingston 9th. Mathewson up to 8th on the TB cart. And then it's Hargraves 7th, Acosta 6th, Mazzafaro 5th, Daly 4th, Danny Formal 3rd, Askew still in 2nd. That's surprising as Austin Garrison shows the way. 2/100ths of a second out in front of Oliver Askew. Beautiful shot of the flea market here at OGP. That's Cole Mathewson pointing the competition behind him to drive around as he should be done. Right hand up in the air, the Carter's equivalent of the tail light. Only about a minute to go now as qualifying will come to an end here shortly for our Shifter Rock Senior and Shifter Rock Masters drivers. Coming up next, Micro Rock and Junior Rock. I'm going to mosey on down to the grid and see if there is a driver kind enough to maybe speak for a few minutes to me. Let's head down to the grid as Austin Garrison looks to close things out here on top in Shifter Rock Senior qualifying. So as you see a live shot right there of our Micro Rock drivers leaving the grid to start qualifying. Still a lot of drivers holding their spot on the grid. About the first half has taken off. These are our youngest drivers competing here this weekend at the Sofina Foods Florida Winter Tour. We've probably got about 15 or 20 so karts just leaving the grid, taking out onto the track now. Here comes the second wave of them. Connor Zillish, Paige Crawford, Noah Baker, Riker Mattis. They're all coming out now. We still have maybe 7 or 8 still sitting at the back of the grid. Here they all come now. This should do it. Jeremy Fletcher. Boy, they all come flying out. Yeah, the grid is nearly empty as a few karts get together on track entrance. One driver goes right into the number 90. One of the drivers involved, they all get going and take off. That is one of the tough things about the track here at OGP. It's so nice and so wide. The kids come flying out of the grid here.
They often make contact heading out onto the track. Jacob Kohler, quick driver, 1 lap out, 48.786. Leonardo Juncos near the front. Now it's Connor Zilish up to P1. Paige Crawford, second quick. 1 lap in here. Terlucky, third. Brent Cruz. Nikita Johnson now to the top. Sebastian Guerrera, Eli Troll. There's a whole bunch of shuffling going on right now as our carts come by to complete their second lap. Nikita Johnson on top, 42.829. Eli Troll, now it's Leonardo Juncos on top with a 42.466. Nikita Johnson back to second. Looking for guys like Jeremy Fletcher, Noah Baker, Tanner Garvin, Emo Fittipaldi, Oliver Denny, some of the big hitters in this class. Nicholas Terlucky now makes a move to the top. 1 driver still to take time, the 27 of Freddie Slater. He has now just left the grid. So Slater takes to the track. Our last driver to leave the grid, I do believe. Yeah, finally our Micro Rock grid is empty. They are all out on track now. Paige Crawford goes to the top, 41.316. Paige Crawford on top. Terlucky to second. Brent Cruz in third. Nikita Johnson now moves up to third. Brent Cruz fourth. Caparelli in fifth. Good lap there for Paige Crawford, 41.316. Now it's Oliver Denny on top. Denny with a 41.1. These Micro Rock drivers not wasting any time. Our youngest drivers here this weekend going to put on a great show. Here comes Connor Zilish leading a pack onto the front straightaway. Let's see what Zilish can do here at the line. Connor's going to move not many spots. He stays in that 12th position. Oliver Denny, the driver they're all chasing right now, 41.158. Crawford with a 41.3. Terlucky in third. Johnson fourth. Brent Cruz in fifth. Now Jeremy Fletcher up to the second position, 41.192. Good lap for the number 22 of Jeremy Fletcher up to second. Here comes Paige Crawford down the front straightaway. She's been fast. Let's see what she can do here. Crawford actually falls a spot to fifth. Here comes Frankie Iadavea, another Northeast driver. Iadavea a little bit farther down the pack. He's in 25th currently, so he's struggling to find the speed. Drivers on every section of the track out here right now. There's pretty much not a quiet spot around this tight bull ring at OGP. Zilish brings another group through the showcase turn. Down the front straightaway, will there be any change up at the front? Brent Cruz moves up to fourth. Zilish stays in fifth. Crawford sixth. Slater seventh. Nikita Johnson, Rodriguez, and Costa are your top 10, as there is still over 6 minutes to go here in Micro Rock qualifying. Our Junior Rock drivers now starting to fill up the grid. Oliver Denny goes purple once again, 41.015 for the number 43. He was already the quickest driver on track, and now he's going to stay the quickest driver on track. 41 flat for Oliver Denny. Great lap there. Terlecki still in second with a 41.1. Then it's Fletcher in third, 41.19. Then it's Brent Cruz in fourth, Connor Zilish. In the bright colored number 72 in fifth, Paige Crawford out of Long Island, New York. Sixth, Brandon Carr. Seventh, Freddie Slater. Eighth, Nikita Johnson in ninth. Then it's Lucas Rodriguez in 10th. Miguel Costa is 11th. Emo Fittipaldi 12th. Sebastian Guerrero 13th. Pedro Caparelli is in 14th. Ernesto Bueno rounds out the top 15th. And Leonardo Juncos is 16th. Anderson Leonard 17th. Cretayan Pastrion is 18th. Granger Pera and Jacob Kohler round out the top 20 with about 4 minutes to go in Micro Rock qualifying. Up front, though, it is still Oliver Denny, Nicholas Terlecki, and Jeremy Fletcher here in Micro Rock as our Junior Rock drivers continue to fill up the grid. Not sure we're going to get to talk to any of these Junior Rock kids, man. They come to the grid with their helmets on, and they're ready to do business. Three and a half minutes remaining here in Micro Rock qualifying. Oliver Denny on top. His lead about 1/10 of a second over Terlecki. And then Jeremy Fletcher took a while, but he got up to third. Brent Cruz is fourth. Connor Zilish fifth. Paige Crawford, they're trying to get her off the track right now. She's in sixth. Very busy as they come down into the carousel here. Lots of drivers getting onto the brakes at different times. They're signaling for Paige to exit the track, and is she going to be able to get off this time? No. She stays on. Crawford currently in that sixth position. They're calling her off. Carr in seventh. Rodriguez eighth. Slater ninth. Nikita Johnson in 10th. But it's Oliver Denny, the one all these kids are chasing right now out of the United Kingdom. Denny, man, he is on rails. 41 flat. That was his best lap on lap number 7. Last time by a 41.129. Terlecki, Fletcher, Cruz, and Zilish are your top 5 here. About 2.5 minutes remaining in Micro Rock qualifying. So as the checkered flag waves here in Micro Rock qualifying, Oliver Denny ends the session on top. 41 flat. Great lap for the English driver. Very good run for the 43 of Oliver Denny. Nicholas Terlecki is going to come home in second. No big changes here as the checkered flag flies. Fletcher's going to end up third with Brent Cruz in fourth. Connor Zilish brings the number 72 home fifth. And then it's going to be Paige Crawford with a good run to sixth in qualifying. Brandon Carr seventh. Lucas Rodriguez eighth. Freddie Slater ninth. And Nikita Johnson rounds out your top 10 in Micro Rock qualifying. Then it's Miguel Costa in 11th. Emo Fittipaldi 12th. Leonardo Juncos, Sebastian Guerra, and Pedro Caparelli rounding out the top 15. So now as Micro Rock qualifying comes to an end, our final qualifying session now on the grid, getting ready to go. You see our Junior Rock drivers gridded up and ready to take off. It's a full grid of Junior Rock drivers getting set to take to the track. We saw great racing in this category last month in Homestead. Michael D'Orlando able to lock up the victory both in his Junior Rock and Junior Max weekends. We'll see if he can do the same. He's about the 7th cart back in line underneath the Fixie Wheel sign. You see him right there underneath the Fixie Wheels banner. Michael D'Orlando. We've got a bunch of big hitters in this category getting ready to roll out. Junior Rock, our final qualifying session of the afternoon. Before we kick things off with our first round of heat races. Boy, if Michael D'Orlando could lock up another performance like he did in Homestead, that would be a fantastic kickoff to the 2016 season. Also on your camera, you might see grid stewardess Maddie Egger. You got to wish her a happy birthday when you see her this weekend, folks, as you can see the balloon right behind her. It's the happy birthday butterfly, so if you see her this weekend, make sure you wish Madeline a happy birthday. Chris Wheeler, we're getting ready for Junior Rock qualifying. Are you able to handle this excitement?
You know, this is one I look forward to all weekend long, Tony. There's so much young talent here in the Rock Junior field. Of course, Matias Ramirez, he is going to be tough to beat. The OGP team, all those drivers fast. But, of course, the 215, the 251, those are the kids I'm looking at here. By the way, thanks for telling me we weren't going to be in the booth for this one.
I'm kind of winging it these days. I kind of just shoot from the hip on a lot of this stuff. I'm sorry. I know you hate walking.
Yeah, you know, walking really doesn't help my Midwest Gorillas figures. We watch the play here. See Matt Long, arms crossed. Michael D'Orlando still sitting on the grid. Only ones remaining here in this Rock Junior field. First carts by this time through the showcase. Tony, I think this one's going to take about 3 to 4 laps to settle in, though. That's when we're going to kind of see who's where on the time charts. Be able to see what kind of lap times we should expect here. I think about lap 6 or 7 we'll probably see our fastest. And then everything from that point on is just going to be about maybe somebody from about 15th on back, maybe shuffling around.
Flyers are starting to get laid down now. Nicholas Sanchez with a 41.6. Then it's Joseph Galino, second quick. Max Hewitt, Tony Tesoro is tuning on that cart this weekend. Hewitt is third. Matias Ramirez, home track driver, in fourth. Now it's Nicholas D'Orlando to the top, the 215. Nicholas to the top, the 251, though, still sitting on the grid. Chris, what is it about IndyCar spotters? Why are you guys so cool?
I can't really justify that one, man. It hasn't had nothing to do with the fact that we work in IndyCar. I think it's the fact that Matt, Mike Marini, and I all hang out in Indianapolis even when we're not on the road. And, I mean, if you've seen Mike Marini's hair, he's the only guy with a bald spot that could still look that awesome. So I think he's the one that adds the cool to all of us.
So Michael D'Orlando now pulling out onto the track. Nicholas was on top there for a hot minute. Matias Ramirez, the OGP driver, goes purple. 38.396. Ramirez on top. DiOrlando slips to second, and then it's Tyler Gonzalez in third. Lachlan DiFrancesco fourth. Nicholas Sanchez now back to the top. Sanchez with a 38.201. He goes purple. Max Hewitt now on top. The Tony Tesoro machine. Now it's Duke Medjin on top. 37.999. The 299 of Duke Medjin. Now it's Matias Ramirez. It's shot for shot here. These guys are exchanging body blows, Chris.
Slide job city all around the racetrack here, the Bull Ring at Ocala Grand Prix. But like I said, lap 6, lap 7, you're going to kind of know who's going to be there. And then it's going to come down if anybody can get just a little bit more.
Ryan McDermott was very fast in Homestead, especially during the road tax weekend. He's third quick now. Nicholas DiOrlando down to fourth. Alvarado fifth, but it's Matias Ramirez with a 37.8. No, now it's Pedro Lopes with a 37.7. We're waiting to see what Michael DiOrlando can do as Matias Ramirez goes purple again. 37.631. It's Lopes in second. Gonzalez third. Gouliart fourth. Jet Nolan from PK Sports is fifth. I'm scanning the board looking for Nicholas DiOrlando. He's 13th. What about Michael? Ramirez on top. Michael DiOrlando, where are you hiding? These kids are changing and shuffling around so much at the top. So DiOrlando mired back around the about 12th, 13th position as Matias Ramirez, quickest driver on track, 37.460. McDermott up to second now. Then it's Gonzalez, Lopes, and Michael DiOrlando up to fifth. 4 minutes to go in the session.
So, of course, Michael DiOrlando, as we talked about, held on for an extra 2-3 laps here. So as these drivers have now kind of gotten their space, he's kind of in a better position. He's got 2 laps fresher tires, and he was able to let all the jockeying for position happen before he ever went on the racetrack. This lap should be clean air, maybe one more clean air, then he might get a little bit of traffic, so it'll be interesting to see what the next 2 laps have in store for the 251.
They're all chasing the 258 of Matias Ramirez, 37.460. DiOrlando now up to second, 37.4 for Michael DiOrlando, and it's little brother Nicholas right behind, 37.5. McDermott fourth, and then Gonzalez fifth. Latifi in sixth. Duke Medjin up to seventh. Lopes eighth. Sanchez ninth. Hollingshead 10th.
Tyler Gonzalez, a very young, talented kid. We talked a lot at Homestead about how awesome that young man is going to be. Obviously, Mini Max on one weekend, Junior here this weekend. It's an uphill battle for him at times, but I'm really happy to see him here at his home track, Ocala Grand Prix this weekend, kind of getting some of that confidence back after a rough season opener, because I'm telling you what, Tony, that's one of the kids that are out here today that has a chance at racing on Sundays in the future.
Matias Ramirez goes purple again, 37.456 on lap number 7. Does he get quicker here on lap number 8? There goes the Tony Tesoro machine of Max Hewitt down the front straightaway. Here comes Ramirez, 37.4. Does he have anything better? Ramirez at the line. He does, 37.372. Matias Ramirez cooking right now. Tyler Gonzalez in second. DiOrlando brothers third and fourth. McDermott fifth. How happy do Mike and Sherry have to be right now?
Well, you got to think they're got to be pretty happy, obviously. When you come after, though, you come off a couple weeks like we had there in Homestead. First, if you're not up there, it kind of feels like you're doing something wrong. But these two guys, both these two brothers have done a great job. And, you know, when you show up here, it's going to be tough to beat the Ocala Grand Prix drivers. They are so good all around the country. But it's really hard to beat somebody in their own backyard. As we watch Ramirez this time by, a 377. Not going to best his 372, but still probably the second fastest lap to overall turn. Start to watch now. Here comes Nicholas DiOrlando. See if that driver in the 215 will have anything. So that time by, Latifi runs his fastest lap in the 5th spot, but that's all that's changed here. Just under a minute and a half remain in Rok Jr.
Qualifying a minute and a half away from being over. Our Masters Rock drivers filling into the grid now. Not only is Matias Ramirez fast, Chris, but he's deadly consistent.
Yeah, another 37.3. That time it was a 37.397 for that young man. Ramirez, one tough driver around this bull ring. As we watch the monitor, waiting to see
The Orlando through. Nothing better, though. Not sure if anybody's going to be able to change up here in the top 5. We've now got 50 seconds.
Yeah, the top 5 looks solid. That is for sure. Lots of big names. McDermott is 6th. Duke Medjin doing better in junior. He's 7th. And then Anthony Zapponi is 8th. Pedro Lopes 9th. Nicholas Sanchez 10th. Less than 30 seconds remaining now in the qualifying session. This will end the weekend's qualifying activities as Matias Ramirez drops the hammer and goes purple again. 37-3-5-2. They have got the junior driver tuned up here at his home track. Matias is flying. 10 seconds remaining here in junior rock qualifying. Nobody is going to have anything for Matias Ramirez, the hometown kid, flying here at OGP. The clock strikes 0, and Cameron Egger waves the checkered flag. Ramirez slows down, but it's not going to be enough for anybody else. Matias Ramirez with a 37-3-5-2 is going to end qualifying on top. Gonzalez comes home 2nd. Michael D'Orlando 3rd. Little brother Nicholas is getting there, Chris. He is 4th. Matt Latifi 5th. Ryan McDermott 6th. Duke Medjin 7th. Zapponi 8th. Lopes 9th. And Hollingshead 10th.
So a good run here in the Rock Junior Division. Final drivers taking the checkered flag. Tony Laporta had to run to the little girls' room momentarily here before he gets ready for this Masters action. We're going to grab your pole sitter. Rock Masters coming your way here in just a few minutes. One of the beauties here of the Florida Winter Tour, the fact we are ahead of schedule. So the Honey Badger trying to get his helmet off. He's kind of struggling.
A bunch of big kids out here racing go-karts, and we're actually having a ball.
So there's a misconception of Masters racers all across the globe, I believe. They think that it's just all the dads that don't have the patience to work on the carts, or they shouldn't be allowed around the carts, anything like that, so they race. Well, you're probably one of the most fit 43-year-olds I know, for one. But talk to us about the training regimen that goes into this division for you.
You know, honestly, I used to do a lot of lay-down road racing stuff, and about 3 years ago came over to and just primarily sprint, and I had to learn how to drive all over again. I mean, it is a physical workout. It's nonstop. It's not just one person. I mean, I got a tuner, a team I'm driving for, engine build. I mean, the whole package deal to put one of these up on the pole.
So you've done a lot of good top qualifiers in your life. When we get to the how many final victories we have, it's the column isn't quite as there. You've really focused a lot on the endurance aspect of it and a lot of the testing to get the go-kart to work better throughout the run. How much testing have you done here just in preparation for the Florida Winter Tour or any event here at the Ocala Grand Prix in the past?
You know, I've been down here once before, and it was 3 years ago. And we came down here Tuesday, got set up. We've been on track Wednesday, Thursday, just working on endurance runs and just trying to get the car to last, like you said, the entire 25 laps. And, you know, this is my 4th race in a Praga, so we're still working on the R&D with this 32mm Invictus. But like I said, I've got some good people behind me, and Kyle Coonsey and Tanda Racing, and then Ocala Grand Prix, who've kind of helped me out with the track nuances. So we're working on it, but we got a long way to go, and hopefully I get to keep talking to you.
Well, you don't want to talk to me. I'm just the fill-in guy. Tony Laporta is the man with the actual paid job here. You talked about having a tuner. I mean, how did this combination happen?
You know, actually, he and I, back in 2010, road raced together out in California at Buttonwillow, and I think I won that, but don't quote me to that. But you know, he and I banged on each other for 30 minutes and kind of became friends ever since then. And he actually works for arguably one of the best tag drivers in the country, in Jake Craig. So it never hurts to have somebody of his caliber helping you. I mean, from chassis tuning to driving to engine, he's got it all worked out.
Right on, folks. Well, stay tuned. We'll be back here in just a few moments.
test.
So we still got about 5 minutes to go before our Masters Rock race gets going here. I think Chris Wheeler came down and talked to some of these guys already. They're all sitting with their helmets on in the zone. Mr. Budiso, come talk to us for a moment. I mean, we got some time to kill here. We might as well talk to important people. How's the weekend going for you guys? You're working with Adam Pettit, I understand?
Yes, we are. Weekend's done so far so good. So we'll see how it works out this heat race, and then make changes for the heat races tomorrow.
So far, so good. All we've had is qualifying. How good can it be?
Well, I mean, I'll let you know after this race, and I guess we'll figure it out from there. So
you and me back here in 10 laps for another interview?
Count me in.
Okay, well, that'll be great. Anthony Honeywell, he's talking to his tuner, Kyle Kunze. Kyle, do you have a moment to spare? Yeah, of course. You know, the tuners don't get enough exposure at these races. Kyle, tell us, how are things with the new switch to Praga recently?
Things have been really good. Haven't worked with Jake too much on it, but been working with Anthony so far this year and been pretty happy with the chassis. It's working with Formula K last year, you know, there's a lot of similarities because they're both manufactured by IPK. So a lot of what I learned last year with Jake on the FK is translating on the Praga, and it's been pretty good. Obviously, we're P1 today, so see if we can keep it up front. Honeywell's doing a great job, and, you know, I think he'll get the job done this weekend.
Well, you were talking to me on the grid earlier about Anthony's driving styles here in these Rocks, and you had rave reviews of his ability to drive these karts, the Rock and the Rotax. You just wouldn't quit commenting on how talented of a driver is in these direct drive and these single-speed programs. So what is it about Anthony that makes him such a good driver in this kart?
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely probably the greatest I've ever seen, greatest I've ever worked with. He tends to really smash on the gas, miss braking zones. Turn-in points are usually pretty far off. We don't believe in apexes, but, you know, I work pretty hard, and luckily I give him a kart that's usually 7/10 faster than the field, so that way he can bring it back to the rest of the guys.
Those modesty classes paid off over the offseason working with Jake Craig, huh?
Yeah, well, it's, you know, don't let Jake fool you. It's not a whole lot different. No, I'm just kidding. They're both really good. It's definitely a lot different driving the Rock versus like an X30 or a Rock TT, but Honeywell's doing a great job adapting. The whole idea of just rolling on the power, utilizing the tires, which are quite different than the MGs, but he's doing a really good job. Homestead was his first time, and now it's the second time, so he's doing great, and yeah, it's been a lot of fun working with him. So.
Final question, how much will you guys win the main event by on Sunday?
Hopefully we just win.
Hopefully you just win. All right, that's Kyle Kunze, Anthony Honeywell's tuner. They're firing them up down here on the grid. We're getting ready to turn them out for our first heat race of the weekend.
Shadow down here, but I think that'll be. I'll see as they go by.
So as we find ourselves now back at Ocala Grand Prix, karts on track, we are getting ready for our first round of heat races, which will bring an end to today's on-track activities. Masters Rock drivers getting ready to kick things off here with our wheel-to-wheel competition. Kyle Kunze, one of the more modest tuners you're going to find in the paddock, spinning the wrenches for Anthony Honeywell this weekend. Honeywell is going to bring him down on pole. Evandro Di Matteo starts second with Adam Pettit and Daniel Reiger making up row number 2. Then it's Andre Duick and Drew Neubauer in row 3. Mark Julian, Josh Martin, Ryan Gordon, and Andre Salazar are your top 10, with Trey Smith in 11th. Here they come down to the tram lanes for the first time at Ocala. Let's go racing. Green flag flies, and that is a beautiful look at the starting grid as they fly down into turn number 1. Honeywell does a great job getting out in front. Adam Pettit also does a great job following along on the inside of row number 2. He runs in second. Honeywell takes a narrow line on the inside as they head to turn number 4. Now the right-hander, turn 5. What a great shot, man. I'll tell you what, that is a beautiful camera angle of the infield here at Ocala Grand Prix. If you're in the pits and you're watching, you realize how beautiful it is here. There's turn 9, the carousel. Honeywell brings them out. Lap 1 in the books. 1 down, 9 to go. There's Honeywell, your leader. Andre Duick in second. No, it's Adam Pettit back on the inside. Pettit makes the pass stick as they hit the chicane, the right-hander, turn number 2. Out of 3 down the short chute, it's going to be Pettit up to second. Should be Duick back into third, I believe. Yeah, Duick on the Cosmic. And then Daniel Reiger and second-place starter Evandro Di Matteo on the top 5. They head now through the infield. The sun is out. Still a little bit of cloud cover on the backside of the track, but it is fantastic weather. And Anthony Honeywell, man, rain or shine, he's going to have a good time out in a go-kart. He's done all types of kart racing throughout his career: sprint kart, endurance, sprint, lay down, all of it, man, you name it. The Honey Badger has raced it, and he is running very well right now. Pettit is your quickest driver on track, 38.565. as he's trying to chase down Anthony Honeywell. Good shot right there, high above the track. That's our cable cam. Psych. We don't have a cable cam. It's our wireless cameras. When you don't have a cable cam, the next best thing, folks, it's a wireless camera. And that's what we're working with here at the Florida Winter Tour. Pettit, quick last time by, 38 with a 5 on the back. Let's see what he does here. Goes even quicker, 38.4, but it's Di Matteo. Leaders with troubles. Anthony Honeywell pulls off somewhere past the start-finish line, I believe. So that is not good. Kyle Kunze, despite your modesty, your driver with issues. Oh, that's a plot twist. Evandro Di Matteo, your off-pole starter. He's your quickest driver on the track right now, 38.3. Don't forget, folks, email us at live@floridawintertour.com. I'm also going to have a phone number for you to text your vote to on several issues later throughout the weekend. I'll get you that phone number here in a moment, but email us at live@floridawintertour.com, and we'll have that phone number to you here shortly. As we check in now back up at the front of the field, Adam Pettit, your leader, with a, let's see what the gap is over Andre Duick, 1.2 seconds. Here they come through the carousel. There's Pettit, head down. He's trying to drive that thing away. He goes green, 38.4. Di Matteo in second. Andre Duick and Daniel Reiger battling it out right now. That's going to be for about the third position. Reiger has gotten around Duick. He's up to third. Hey, we've already got a few shout-outs coming in here. Let's see what people are having to say. We're keeping you guys in the dark for dramatic pause. Gus Blanco says hi. Gus, thanks for saying hi. And we also have a shout-out here to Team PCR from Austin Jordan. Number 431. Shout out to Team PCR, Austin Jordan, tuning in and watching. Austin, we sure appreciate it. Thanks for watching. One of your PCR drivers is running very well right now. There he is, Adam Pettit, showing the way ahead of Evandro Di Matteo. And then Reiger got around Duick last lap up to third. Duick fourth, Julian fifth, Ryan Gordon, Josh Martin, Neubauer, Salazar, and Troy Smith, your top 10, with Anthony Honeywell having a few mechanical issues. Not sure what happened there, but off the pace by quite a bit. Folks, if you're shocked by Anthony Honeywell having mechanical issues, text the word shocked to 503-951-9751. Again, if you're shocked that Anthony Honeywell broke while leading this race, please text the number 503-951-9751. Text shocked if you're surprised that Anthony Honeywell had mechanical issues early on in this heat race. Adam Pettit goes purple. That's not a shock to anybody, I'll tell you that right now. 38.260. And to those of you in the pits who have my phone number, don't text shocked to me. Text that to 503-951-9751. Coming down to see 3 to go here at OGP for our Masters Rock driver. Quick day. These Fridays are you show up, you have 3 rounds of practice before lunch, you break for lunch, a few drivers' briefings, and then it's qualifying in the heat race. And just like that, boom, you're done. If you were in Homestead with us, as Chris Wheeler and I talked about earlier, those were really quick days because usually by qualifying we were totally done. Rain in Homestead last month knocked us out of qualifying both days on Friday, and that made for a very fast Friday. Adam Pettit just trying to bring that PCR home in one piece and out in front where he is right now. Good battle right here. That should be Mark Julian and I want to say Josh Gordon. No, Mark Julian and Josh Martin, I want to say, is who we're watching right now. No, it is. It's Ryan Gordon and Mark Julian. I apologize. Ryan Gordon in the 669 and Mark Julian in the 671. They're coming out of the final corner down the front straightaway. Those two are teammates, I do believe. Yeah, that's going to be Gordon taking a look on the inside of Julian as they continue to battle back and forth. Honeywell has gotten his way back up into second. No, that's the times. Pettit out in front. Di Matteo still runs second. And then it is Reiger third, Duick fourth, Julian, Gordon, Martin. Anthony Honeywell still scored in the 11th position. Troy Smith lays down his best lap of the race, a 40.594. The white flag flying now, 1 to go for Adam Pettit. As our senior rock drivers will be making their way onto the grid, there's a couple of the Praga teammates. That should be Josh Martin and Drew Neubauer making their way out of turn 3, now into turn 4. There you see them side by side. That's going to be the fight for the 7th position right now. Adam Pettit, though, not much of a fight for him as he comes out of the final corner to pick up the pieces. Pettit, your winner in heat race number 1. Adam Pettit scores the victory. Evandro Di Matteo comes home second. Then it's Reiger, who had a good fight with Andre Duick earlier on. Reiger ends up third. Then it's Duick in fourth, Gordon fifth. Mark Julian ends up sixth. Josh Martin holds off Drew Neubauer for seventh. And then it's Andres Salazar and Troy Smith, your top 10. Anthony Honeywell, he's going to have to rebound after that, as he is 11th after mechanical issues take him out of the running order early here in Masters Rock. Senior Rock is coming up next, folks. You're watching live coverage of the 2016 Sofina Foods Florida Winter Tour presented by Fixie Wheels. So now we're back with our next heat race of the day, and it is those wild and wacky Senior Rock drivers. Chris, can you handle the intensity?
Well, apparently some of them couldn't handle something as simple as an outlap, Tony. As we just saw 3 or 4 of them ran out of talent big time on the outlap in the middle of turns number 1 and 2. So let's hope they've kind of gotten rid of all that bad juju here.
You know what we haven't ran out of here at Ocala Grand Prix, Chris, is great times. Because we're having them right now.
Well, I'm just happy that this time when I came to see you were in the right spot.
Yeah, sorry, we move around here a lot at max speed. Senior Rock on track now, and they're going to get brought down to see the green flag by the one and only Kyle Kirkwood in the 328. Luis Jose Forteza lines up on the outside of row number 1. Then it's Victor Franzoni. He's getting tuned on by the one and only Andre Pedrosa. He starts 3rd. Then it's Mauricio Hernandez in 4th. Ryan Norberg is 5th with Elaine Sisdeli in 6th. Dominic Tesoro is 7th with Zach Banks in 8th. Zach Holden 9th. Sterling Fairman rounds out your top 10. Olin Galley, Tech Speed driver, rolls 11th with Brandon Collins in 12th. Matthew Pasesh, Sebastian Alvarez, and Julia Boos round out the top 15. Then it's Dario Cangelosi, Franco Carabeda, and Carlos Rodriguez Lopez in the top 18. Senior Rock drivers, nice side-by-side, 2x2 in the tram lanes. Cam Ager, let's go racing. Green flag flies, and they take off down into turn number 1. Nice low, tight shot right there of our field as they go through the swinging, long, late apex turn number 1. And one fan in the backside of the track, he's got his arms up. He is loving this opening lap action. Everybody gets through the first 3 corners pretty cleanly. Out of the short chute into the 180s. Now they go through 4. The right-hander 5, they'll head for turn number 6. They swing out wide. They've got to get back to the left side of the track to set up for the right-hander turn number 7. Over the dog leg in 8. They'll head for the carousel turn 9. And Kyle Kirkwood leads lap number 1.
So Kirkwood here off the showcase down the front straightaway for the first time. 8-car length lead over Franzoni into turn number 1 now. Left-hander in turn 1, kick back right. Hard on the brakes, turn for the left side in turn number 3. Kirkwood still out in front, 8 cart lengths and leaving now through turn number 4. Headed to the right-hander, turn number 5. That'd be a quick kink here. Turn number 6. Back towards the tree turn, number 7. And the Ocala Grand Prix, Tony Kart, Kyle Kirkwood long gone as they try to complete lap number 1.
And we show Victor Franzoni scored in that second position in the 324. Good start for him after coming from the inside of row number 2 in 3rd. And there you see him right there. It is Franzoni in 2nd with Norberg back in 3rd, Forteza 4th, and Hernandez in 5th. Leaders making their way through the infield now, out of turn 4. Good shot high above the track right there. They'll head for the right-hander, turn number 5, and then out of 6. They're on the back half of the track now. Kirkwood last time by, out in front by half of a second. Let's see if the lead grows or stabilizes here, if Franzoni's able to do any work at all. Coming down to complete lap number 2. Let's see what the lead is. Last time by half of a second, this time by. Probably got a refresh race monitor.
7/10 of a second, Tony Laporta.
Wow.
About 2.5 tenths of a second being put on that advantage last time by. Meanwhile, Ryan Norberg in the 348 is going to go purple here with a lap time, 37.275. So Norberg, fastest man on track so far in this race, as he is under pressure here from Forteza. So Forteza in the 4 spot trying to counter onto Norberg. Nothing there. Norberg +5 and leaving now, headed through the carousel.
This the only heat race of the day for our Senior Rock drivers. Kyle Kirkwood, he's just taken that cart for another one of those probably 10,000 laps that you talked about he completes here a year, Chris. These OGP drivers, man, they lay a ton of laps down here every year. And you got to love it. I think those are some of the PSL guys sitting on the backside of the track, man. They're doing the wave over there between turns 3 and 4. They're into it here in heat race action for our Senior Rock drivers.
So Kyle Kirkwood through turn number 7 now, still out in front in a big way. Continues to stretch out that lead. Now, some people might think, what's a 10.5 a second per lap? Well, when you're talking about the bull ring at Ocala Grand Prix, folks, a 10.5 is big time. It's approximately the same as about 2 or 3 tenths on a track that's stretched out like Homestead Karting where we were last month. So you see Kirkwood working his way on the back section of the racetrack. Turn number 4. Now the right-hander at 5. Left-hander at 6. and Tony Laporta, Kyle Kirkwood is about to put this thing into easy mode and cruise home for the remainder of this heat race. But that doesn't mean that we're done, because the battle for third, with Norberg running down the second spot of Franzoni, continues to heat up. Norberg 37-1 to Franzoni's 37-3 that time by.
It's a 12-lap heat race here, Chris. We've just reached the halfway point, 6 down, 6 to go. As Ryan Norberg in that 3:48 is really starting to harass the 3:24 of Victor Franzoni. Out of 5 now, they head for 6. That's the battle we're watching right now for a second. Franzoni and the PK Sports Tony Kart right there in second, leading that pack. Then it's Norberg in third. He's the middle cart in that pack with Luis Jose Forteza out of Puerto Rico on the comp cart, third in line, fourth overall.
I'm going to call it here, Tony. You've got about a lap and a half before Norberg makes his move on Franzoni. He's going to look to the bottom of turn number 1, nothing there. Now to turn number 2, going to try and square him up here for the exit shot, turn number 3. And he does. One cart separates him into turn number 4 now.
It makes sense. Last time by Norberg, a 37-1, Franzoni, a 37-3, and each of those laps were their quickest. Out of 6, they head for 7, the tree turn. Norberg pulls the trigger, and he's through. Great move. Ryan Norberg, Chris, you called it, clears Victor Franzoni within that lap. You said he would. Now they head down the back straight, and you see just how big of a lead Kirkwood has. Looks over the left shoulder. Don't need to look back, Kyle. They're nowhere near you. Ryan Norberg advances up a spot now to second. Franzoni's not going to let him get away that easily, but when you've got the speed, the straight line speed that Ryan Norberg does right now, Franzoni can't be worried about chasing down Ryan Norberg. He's got to be worried about defending against Forteza, because the comp cart can smell blood in the water now. He's all over the back of Victor Franzoni. He takes a look in 7, gets crossed up. No, the door is shut on him. They come out of 8 over the dog leg now to 9. The comp cart of Forteza and the Tony Kart of Franzoni just made the slightest bit of contact. Didn't take anybody off track, but boy, did it hurt Forteza's momentum in a big way.
37-1-2-5 for Kyle Kirkwood that time by. Ryan Norberg at 37-1-5-4. 1.4 seconds separate first and second here. Now, Tony, does Ryan Norberg have anything to mount a charge? Or now that he's clean and green off of the third-place machine of Victor Franzoni, does he just kind of kick back, try and save the tires, knowing that it's going to take an act of Congress to catch Kyle Kirkwood?
Well, as we pointed out earlier, thinking is not exactly my strong suit here, Chris Wheeler, but honestly, he doesn't have anything for Kirkwood as they come by to see the sticks, 2 to go. The lead last time by was 1.4 seconds. It stays right at 1.4 seconds. He can't eat that lead up in a lap and a half, so Norberg's just got to sit back now and save the tires.
Not only does he not have enough time, it's really hard to catch the leader when he goes purple with 2 to go. Kirkwood that time by 37.047. So the 328 Ocala Grand Prix Tony Kart, Kyle Kirkwood on rails here as they head off the tree corner. Now to the showcase. Should be receiving the white flag this time by from Cam Ager.
We're watching this battle for 6th place right now, the 369 of Tesoro and Cisdelli on the Tech Speed chassis. As they come out of the final corner, see the white flag flying. Tesoro just trying to keep Cisdelli behind him. Again, that's the fight for 6th and 7th. Behind them, it's Banks in 8th, Galley in 9th, Holden in 10th. Half of a lap to go. We're going to try to pick up our leader for the final half of a circuit here as we still see that 6th and 7th place battle. Tesoro trying to keep Cisdelli behind him. Coming out of turn 7 over the dog leg, it's going to be Kyle Kirkwood. 1 corner to go. Norberg's done a good job of staying fast with this whole race, but it's too little too late. Kirkwood scores the victory in Senior Rock. There's Norberg rallying very well, Chris, to finish only 0.6 of the second back off of Kirkwood. So, man, if Norberg can keep posting these strong finishes come Sunday, I think we're going to see a really good battle between Kyle Kirkwood and Ryan Norberg. The comp cart of Forteza gets Franzoni in the final lap to finish 3rd. Victor comes home 4th, and then it's Hernandez in 5th. Tesoro is 6th. Elaine Cisdelli 7th. Zach Banks 8th. Allen Galley 9th. And Zach Holden rounds out your top 10 with Pasesh in 11th, Fairman 12th, Collins 13th, Alvarez and Cangelosi in the top 15. So that'll do it for our Senior Rock drivers. They are done for the day. Coming up next, it will be Mini Rock A versus B. And as explained to me by our chief of timing and scoring, the one and only Shelby Jocelyn, she has explained to me that we have so many carts here in Mini Rock that we had to split them up. There will be an LCQ tomorrow evening to set the starting grid for the final on Sunday. Chris, LCQs, I mean, I don't know what they spell, but it's an exciting race.
Last chance qualifier is how
that
one works out here.
That makes sense.
Tony, now I know that you might not have seen many karting races around the country that
Nope.
have an LCQ.
I don't see many karting races, period.
Okay, fair enough. But back to my point. When you come down here to the Florida Winter Tour, you know you're going to have some stacked fields. And how awesome is it that for the second round of this 3-race series, we have an LCQ? As we get a nod from the producer's chair here. He is in total agreement. This one is going to be a barn burner.
That's my thing. Barn burners? I don't think it's advised.
Well, it depends whose property it
Yeah.
is. Meanwhile, nothing on fire, folks. Do not be alarmed. We are just getting ready here for what could be one of the most exciting displays of motorsport that you will see all day long.
Not to add any extra drama to that at all, let's tell you how they're going to line up for this Mini Rock A versus B race. The number 184 of Alex Jankowski starts things off in row 11, starting 21. Dino Lambro starts 20th with Santiago Juarez on the inside of row number 10. Donald Wharton, the second driver of the number 120, rolls 18th alongside the 181 of Gunnar Bischoff. Enzo Schianti and Santiago Trisney make up row number 8, while it's Arizona's Anthony Willis and Yusuf Mula in row 7. Ryan Rackley rolls 12th in the number 131 with the number 137 of Diego Contecha in 11th. We see our top 10 drivers made up, starting with the number 124 of Felipe Bartz and the 144 of Devin Gomez in 9th. Starting 8th, driver of the number 190 will be Arias Duke Medjin with the number 134 of Derek Carmenente. Starting 6th on the Bennick will be the number 132 of Justin White, alongside the 188 Comp Cart of Luca Mars. Rafael Camaro rolls 4th aboard the 101, and then it's Jetpack Jack Crawford. The Houston Texan starts 3rd aboard his 152 Energy Cart. The front row sees a couple of mini category veterans. Reese Gold on the 155 starts off pole in 2nd. You can see him right there. He's got the yellow-colored bodywork, but he has made the switch from Tony Kart to Bennick in the off-season. Reese Gold sitting on the off pole. That would be the left side of the screen here, underneath the OGP awning. And then leading these drivers down to the green flag off of the pole position, driver of the number 174, it will be Tyler Maxson. That's your starting grid as they are lined up 2 by 2 down there. And as you see a good shot of the grid, I feel obligated to bring it up since we just have a minute or two to kill here. And not to get too off topic, but you see Madeline Egger, our grid stewardess, down there with a happy birthday balloon. Have you seen that this weekend, Chris?
I did notice it, yes.
Are you aware of the story?
No, please tell us.
Believe it or not, it is not Madeline's birthday. Her Sweet 16 is coming up a little bit later in the year. Actually, what's going on is Maddie was at a local establishment last night, made a bet with one of the karting industry members, Tony Tesoro, tuning on Max Hewitt's kart this weekend, that the birthday party that was at the table behind us last night had left their birthday balloon. Always a sad thing, but tragedies like this in life sometimes happen. So Maddie accepted the bet of carrying the balloon around with her, tied to her wrist, for the remainder of the weekend. That is all day today, all day tomorrow, and through podiums on Sunday. She will have that balloon tied to her wrist. The bet with Tony Tesoro, which I probably can't get too into detail with, will involve Tony, should he lose the bet, receiving a piercing should the balloon stay affixed to Miss Egger's arm throughout the weekend. Chris, I don't know if you're a betting man. What do you think the odds are? Maddie's a very committed individual.
How many points do I get?
I'm sorry?
Like, is there a spread here? Do I get points?
What do you think the odds are of Maddie winning the bet and Tony
honestly,
leaving here with a piercing?
Maddie Egger is definitely a very awesome person, and so I would say that it's a no-brainer. She'll be able to handle it.
steadfast on her beliefs. We will see. And on that note,
But before we get any further, I must say we did Google it. And if you are from Arizona, you are officially an Arizonan, unofficially Arizonian.
wow, you Googled that.
I had to know.
Okay. Look, folks, here at the Mac.
You ask me for advice on this job all the time, Tony Laporta, and one of them is sometimes you got to dig to the depths of
wow.
Google.
Yeah, here at the Florida Winter Tour, folks, you're going to get your answers. And on that bombshell, let's move now to the on-track action. Tyler Maxson and Reese Gold are going to lead them down to the green flag here. And we're going to give you a special green flag shout-out from our unofficial green flag sponsor when they get here in a little while. Jack Crawford and Rafael Camara start 3rd and 4th. It's Luca Mars and Justin White 5th and 6th. Carmenente 7th, Duke Medjan 8th, Gomez 9th, and Felipe Bartz 10th. These drivers now have completed their out lap. They're going to grid up here and make their formation lap around the track. Maxson and Gold, a couple of Winter Tour veterans here, Chris, bringing them down.
Yeah, Tyler Maxson's really done a great job all weekend long. You want to talk about a kid who has just continued to impress and continued to develop his craft. Be interesting turn number 1 coming your way here with Maxson and Gold. But, man, I've got to think bigger picture here, and I cannot give up on my homeboy, Derek Carmenate. That young man, he was so impressive at Homestead that he's my guy. I'm sticking with him, Tony.
All right, let's see how it works out here. It's a nice full grid. This is Mini Rock, A versus B. Only half of our drivers who have signed up are on the track now. You will see the rest of them in C versus D. We're all working our way towards making the starting grid for our pre-final Sunday morning. They come into the tram lanes 2 by 2. It's Maxson. It's Gold. Let's go racing. Verde, Verde, Verde. Green flag flies, and they're off into turn number 1. That green flag brought to you by Verde Speed Resources. Tyler Maxson does a good job of holding the inside line as they take off through turn 1. Reese Gold, I believe, might have gotten shuffled back. Yeah, he's not in the top 5. No, he is. That's going to be – is that Reese right there back in the third position, Chris?
So Reese Gold actually in the 2nd or 3rd position here, as on your monitor you see him start to go away from our camera here just a little bit. So Gold definitely in that 3rd spot. Carmenate up to 4th.
They come out to complete the opening lap. Good start here by Jetpack Jack Crawford, and just like in Homestead, we see that inside row 2 starting spot really benefit. We've seen it through the first 3 heat races so far today. You start 3rd, you're going to be able to use that inside row 2 spot to launch up and run 2nd. That's exactly what Crawford did. He started 3rd, he now runs 2nd. You see one driver getting their cart pulled up over the barriers there on the exit of turn number 3. Not sure on the number on that. Was that Duke Medjan?
It looked like Duke Medjan. I'm not really sure. Meanwhile, back to your screen, Reese Gold now to P number 2 as he throws one in here on Jetpack Jack Crawford through the showcase. Here comes your leader, Tyler Maxson, one more time. 1, 2, 3. The gap now closing in a little bit more as I believe it's Carmenate up into that 4th position and closing in on your leaders.
Luca Mars, driver in the 5th position, goes purple that time by 40.627 for the comp cart driver. Then it's Kamara in 6th, White 7th, Gomez 8th, Mula and Contagia, the top 10. Tyler Maxson leads right now. There you see Reese Gold in 2nd, Crawford in 3rd, then 4th going to be Carmenate, Luca Mars. Good 5-cart pack here all over. There's probably going to be about a 6-cart pack when they're all said and done here. Extending back to Rafael Camara, Justin White right there on the outside looking in as well. They come by to complete another lap. Gold goes purple that time by, cuts the lead down to 1/10 of a second. Gold digging as they head into the infield. I made a pun right there, and I didn't even realize it.
Yeah, I kind of like what you did there. So Gold trying to dig his way to the lead. Nothing there. Still trying to set up and make a move here on our early leader, Tyler Maxson. As they head through turn number 7. To the kink at 8. Turn number 9. Gold, calm, collected, not even tucking his head yet. Just hanging out there.
No, but he's doing a great job each lap. Last time by 1/10 of a second gap, 40.3 for Gold. Let's see if it changes at all this time by. It sure does as he continues to close up right on Tyler Maxson. Reese Gold is there. They come out of 3. Down the short chute, they look for 4. Gold about a half a cart length back, less than that from Tyler Maxson. They come out of 4 into 5. They'll head for the left-hander, turn number 6. That spits them out onto the short chute. They'll head for the turn 7 tree turn. Gold all over Maxson. They come out of 7, over the dog leg, into 8. They head for the carousel 9. Maxson already defending down low. 5 to go when they get to the line.
So Gold here in the ticketclinic.com special. Nothing looking into turn number 1.
But, boy, he is right there on Maxson's back bumper. You could barely slide a piece of paper in between those two go-karts right now, Chris.
Yeah, they definitely could cover them both with a blanket as they head. Turn number 4.
They come out of the left-hander, now into the infield section. Gold still right there. Tyler Maxson. He's going to have 4 to go when they get to the line. This is some very good racing. Closest fight for the lead we've seen so far yet today. This is Mini Rock A versus B. C versus D drivers are on the grid getting ready to go. The gap last time by 7/100ths of a second. Let's see if Gold can get any quicker here. What is it at the line? 9/100ths of a second. So Maxson opens things up, but barely. Last time by Maxson, a 40.4. Gold, a 40.5. Chris, these two kids are all over each other. When does Gold make the decision? When does he pull the trigger for the pass here?
Well, I think Gold's really playing it smart right now, trying to shake off Jetpack Jack Crawford from this 3-man race up front. If he can get rid of Jetpack, then he'll be able to go for it and have a look or two and not really have to worry about allowing for him to close up. He won't have to worry about trying to defend it all, as you saw right there on your monitor. Gold kind of looking back just a little bit. Now across the stripe one more time. Here he goes. No. So Gold pulls out a line just to shake things up. Crawford goes with him, but he wasn't even close enough to smell the pass. Turn number 3. Decent exit shot here for Gold now. Back to the bumper of Tyler Maxson, but Crawford is there.
Yeah, Gold must not have had a very good lap 7 because the lead from Maxson back to Gold grows from 9/100ths of a second to 2 full tenths of a second. Maxson trying to drive away, and it's Jack Crawford who can now smell blood in the water as Reese Gold falls into his clutches. They come out of the carousel to see Cam Egger showing him the sticks. 2 to go. Maxson walks them all the way down to the inside of the front straightaway. Gold once again back on Maxson's back bumper. They roll through the right-handed turn number 2. Maxson, Gold, Crawford all over each other as they head into the left-handed turn number 4. Cloud cover now coming over the track. Grip levels are going to come up a little bit here in the final 2 laps. There they come out of the right-hander, turn 5 into 6. Maxson, Gold, and Crawford, lap and a half to go.
Headed to the showcase here. A look to the bottom, nothing there for Gold. So Gold still trying to stalk the back bumper Maxson. Here he goes again with a little push from Jetpack. Nothing there. Crawford going to try and set him up. Swing to his outside. No. So 1, 2, 3 are your leaders. So try and work the camera back to him. There we go. Looks like Maxson has kind of stretched it out a little bit. 3 carts and leaving here for the young man out of Georgia. He's a Georgian. Georgian, according to Google, for the final time. Gold's going to block on Crawford. Crawford going to try and slingshot him to the line. Who's it going to be for second? Maxson wins it. The race for second, so close.
Going to go to Gold by the hair on his chinny chin. 7/1000ths of a second separate Reese Gold and Jetpack Jack Crawford as Tyler Maxson's able to hold him off for the win here in Mini Rock A versus B. Luca Mars comes home 4th, and it's Rafael Camara in 5th. Carmenante 6th. Justin White 7th. Gomez 8th. Contagia 9th. And Yusuf Mula continuing to have a good day so far. He runs 10th. Then it's Gunnar Bischoff out of Vermont, I want to believe. He runs 11th. Santiago Trisney is 12th. Donald Wharton 13th. Rackley and Scianti your top 15. Then it's Jankowski, Juarez, Lambros, Willis, and Bart's your top 20. And it was, in fact, Arias Duke Medgen, Chris, who went out on the opening 2 laps over there in turn number 3. What does that do to his strategy tomorrow after a DNF in the first heat race?
You just got to keep your head down and keep fighting, Tony. There's really nothing you can do about it now.
That is for sure. There's a good shot. Live look at the grid there. Main man at max speed It's Michel Boisclair as he presides over the starting grid of our Mini Rock C versus D drivers. Uh-oh. He knows we're talking about him. He's out of there. So this is Mini Rock C versus D coming up next. All of this work goes towards forming up the starting grid for Sunday morning's pre-final. Those Mini Rock drivers now on the grid. I think we're going to have time for one quick commercial break. Let's see if anybody's been emailing us here at live@floridawintertour.com. Hey, Adam Pettit, you've got a shout-out from John Bonanno. Adam Pettit from your boys in New Jersey. John Bonanno. John, why are you not here racing with us? That's what I want to know. Pettit picks up the win in Masters Rock. So we're going to take a quick station identification break.
Wow, I'm really proud that you remembered that.
What's that?
Station identification.
Well, we've got to identify our station.
Well, then take us away.
Folks, you're watching live coverage of the 2016 Sofina Foods Florida Winter Tour presented by Fixie Wheels. We'll be right back.
The 2016 Sofina Florida Winter Tour. Presented by Fixie Wheels. In partnership with Motorsport.com and Ritmo Mundo.
And we're back, folks. That was station identification, and now we're ready for more heat racing. Mini Rock C versus D. Chris Wheeler and I back in the booth, ready to bring you all of the action here at Ocala Grand Prix. Jack Jeffers and Jordan Menge are going to make up row number 10 here in Mini Rock C versus D. Then it's Arturo Alcalade and Alejandro Cirillo in row 9. Isabella Robusto in the 151 rolls 16th with Ryan Detlor in the 168 starting 15th. Nicholas Pino is 14th with Andres Castro on the inside of row number 7. Sebastian Montoya rolls 12th out of the 158, and then William Robusto, any relation between Isabella and him, I wonder, he starts 11th. Ashton Chilton starts 10th with Valeria Vargas in the 128 starting 9th. Justin Arsenault out of Ben Cooper Racing starts 8th with Jason Wellage rolling off 7th. Andrew Masel starts 6th alongside James Agozi. Driver the number 148 starts 5th. Enrico De Luca will pilot the 153 from the 4th position with the 118 of Caleb Bacon in 3rd. Alessandro De Tullio starts off pole, and then bringing him down to see the green flag will be the number 162 of Matias Morgado. It's Mini Rock C versus D. We're getting ready to turn them out. Chuck Yoder puts them into the tram lanes. Cameron Egger getting ready to show him the green flag. Cam Egger, let him buck. Here we go. Green flag flies, and they take off. Man, Morgado does a great job holding on to that top spot, and Caleb Bacon once again is able to slide up from inside row 2, and he picks up that 2nd spot. Our field makes it through the opening 2 corners cleanly. Not exactly the case in turn 3. 2 carts get together. Everybody stays on 4 wheels, and they take off rolling once again. Now they come out of turn 6. They'll head for the tree, turn number 7. And Bacon is on it, folks. He is after Morgado as they come out of 8. Bacon is digging right now. They come into the showcase turn to complete the opening lap. Let's see what the numbers look like. 1 in, 9 to go. Morgado out in front on the energy. He gives the old back of the helmet a tap. Caleb Bacon, does he work with him or go after him here, Chris?
Right now, he's got a little bit of a gap here over 3rd place, Jason Wellage. I would say you keep pushing. If you really want to make it a 2-driver race, you got to just keep your head down, pushing on the go-kart in front of you. Try and break away. There's plenty of passing opportunities in this class with about 2 to go.
So as they come down to complete the second lap there, Mercado, Bacon, Welledge, Agozi, and Vargas, your top 5. Beautiful shot right there of the full course here at OGP, Ocala Grand Prix. Let's see what the lap times look like here. Mercado at the line is going to click off a 40.544 purple. He's the quickest on track, but Bacon not far off, 40.561. And Caleb Bacon is wheeling that thing right now on the comp cart. He is doing his best to stick with Matias Mercado aboard the Energy chassis. Jason Welledge on the top cart runs third. Agozi is fourth on the Bennick, and then Vargas takes the Burrell up to fifth. Haven't talked about the Burrells a lot so far today. They're running well, as always. De Tulio is sixth. De Luca seventh. Maisel, Robusto, and Chilton, your top 10. We always want to tell you what's going on, folks, and we're doing the best we can right now. Bacon goes purple. He closes right up on Mercado's back bumper. They roll through one. They hit the right-hander, too. Mercado trying to shake Bacon, but Caleb is right in his tire tracks everywhere they go. Caleb is doing a great job at keeping that front bumper glued to Mercado's back bumper. The gap last time by 1/10 of a second. Your front 5 all make their way through turn 5, now 6. They're all pretty evenly spaced out here. Let's see if Mercado can pull away from Caleb Bacon. Last time by, Caleb laid down a 40.53. Mercado a 40.54 at the line here to complete lap number 4. Let's see who is the quicker of the two. Mercado, 40.50. Bacon, a 40.65. The rest of the field makes their way down the front straightaway through the late apex, turn number 1, then the right-handed turn number 2. Lots of long sweeping corners here, like 1, 2, and 9, Chris. But then you have a lot of the tight 180s, like turns 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah, definitely a massive amount of change, you could say, in rhythm and course layout here at Ocala Grand Prix, making it one of the coolest racetracks you will get to go to all year long. Meanwhile, one thing I'm really interested in here is we talked about it. The top 3, top 5, pretty evenly separated, but we still have quite a bit of racing to go. I think we've got about halfway distance or so left. Anxious to see who's going to maybe lose it a little bit here when it comes to setup.
Well, yeah, because as we talked about, you've got a variation of corners. You got some long, and I truly mean long in length corners, and then you have a lot of very tight technical corners. It's a lot of different setups, a lot of different mechanics working on these karts right now. So you're going to see who sets the karts up for the long run and which drivers can maintain it. Should be a battle for, what's that going to be, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's going to be about 6th and 7th, what we just saw right there. That's going to be Enrico De Luca and Alessandro De Tullio. We just saw De Tullio lose a spot to Andrew Maisel. Maisel now up into the 7th position. De Tullio back to 8th. That took place back around turns 4 and 5. Maisel was able to get underneath De Tullio, and it's a bunch of 180s back and forth, left-hander, right-hander, left-hander on the infield section. So if you get uprooted and out of the groove over there, you stand to lose quite a few positions. That's what happened to De Tullio. He's now back to 8th. 9th is Chilton. 10th is Montoya. Arsenault runs 11th. William Robusto 12th. Castro, Alcalade, and Cirillo are your top 15. Mercado, meanwhile, your leader, goes purple, quickest driver on the track. Last time by, he was a 40.421. His best lap, a 40.3. Bacon has lost a little bit of that initial speed, Chris. He's now about 7/10 of a second back in second. Welledge, Agozi, and Vargas, your top 5.
You know, Welledge all over the back of Caleb Bacon here through turn number 5, the right-hander. Now they're going to set up for turn number 6. Welledge in the top cart. Didn't see them in Homestead. Happy they are here now in Ocala, as he has been doing a lot of R&D for the Top Kart USA program.
Yeah, that's Jason Welledge you're talking about. Yeah, you're certainly right. They weren't in Homestead. It's great to see him here this weekend as, man, Matias Mercado continues to just walk away from these guys. Caleb Bacon now 1 second flat back, and then Welledge right there starting to harass Bacon a little bit here and there. Gozi by himself in 4th, and then you have Vargas trying to hold off guys like De Luca and De Tullio as they try to fight their way into the top 5. The battle you're watching on your monitor right now is 2nd and 3rd. Caleb Bacon in that yellow and blue. That's flow yellow, in case you're wondering the specific color. It's flow yellow on the comp cart. Bacon piloting that machine with the matching colored helmet, and then Wellage on the blue and white top cart. He runs in third. Drivers see the white flag. These mini rock races quick, not very long, 10 laps in length, and when you're doing 40 seconds a lap, man, that's like what a 5-minute race. Feels like it anyway.
I don't want you to have to struggle too much in the brain department, Tony, as you try to add, carry the 4 and divide by 9. Meanwhile, Bacon under attack by Wellage. Just a handful of corners to go here. Wellage looking for the exit shot off turn number 7. 8 to the kink. He's going to have one more chance as Morgado's going to take off here and win this one with ease. And Bacon will bring it home second. Wellage third.
He brought home the bacon in second.
You don't do that for second.
I don't know. I just did. Caleb Bacon gets it done in second. Jason Wells third. James Agozi fourth. And Valeria Vargas in fifth. DeLuca sixth. DeTulio seventh. Ashton Chilton eighth. Andrew Masel in ninth. And Sebastian Montoya, the top 10. Justin Arsenault 11th. William Robusto 12th. Andres Castro 13th. Alcalade and Isabella Robusto, the top 15. And unfortunately, Chris Wheeler, man, he's a man on the mission. He's already out of here. He didn't like my bacon comments, but I love him. That'll do it for Mini Rock. Those drivers are done for the day. They will take it back to the trailer, work on them, clean them up a little bit, and we'll see them back here for heat races 2 and 3 tomorrow. So Matias Morgado gets the victory in Mini Rock C versus D. Coming up next, it will be our Shifter Rock Senior and Shifter Rock Masters driver. Austin Garrison and Oliver Askew make up the front row there. Danny Formal and Colin Daly are in row number 2. Gianfranco Mazzafaro starts 5th with Juan Acosta in 6th. Then is Nicholas Hargraves in 7th. Cole Mathewson in the 8th position. Mayo Livingston starts 9th with A.J. Myers in 10th. Christian Munoz in 11th. Augusta Soto Shrippa in 12th. Dominic LeGrand, Don Whittington, Jason Alden, and Tyler Gilbo, your field in Shifter Rock Senior. And then you have our Shifter Rock Masters drivers. They're going to be led down to the green by Scott Davidson and Michelle LeGrand. And making up the rest of that Shifter Rock Masters field will be Victor Jimenez, Christian Bartz, and Farshad Bagari. They're on the starting grid ready to go. Matty Egger has shown him some sort of sign. The engines have fired. We're getting ready to turn them out here in Ocala. So now it is time to go shifter racing for the first time this weekend, folks. If you're in the pits here at Ocala Grand Prix, get somewhere where you can see, because watching these shifter rock monster carts hustle their way around the bull ring that is Ocala Grand Prix, this is something to watch. There you see a live look as, boy, that's Taylor Jocelyn down there on the grid. That scares me. Race director Chuck Yoder putting the senior drivers into their grid boxes. Taylor Jocelyn shoves A.J. Myers back into his grid box. Our Shifter Rock Masters drivers getting gridded up at the very back of the grid. It's a mixed field here. Senior drivers make up the top 3/4, and then you got a few Shifter Rock Masters at the back of the grid. It's time to bang gears. Austin Garrison, Oliver Askew, former teammates now ready to battle here at Oliver's old home track and Austin's current home track. They're going to go around one more time. We had trouble getting these guys gridded up. We got troubles with the 499, it looks like. Who's that going to be? Nicholas Hargraves could not get gridded up. And, oh, no, Chuck Yoder takes a digger. So if those of you were betting on the over-under, he's gone down once. Oh, man, that is just, I hope his life alert button didn't get crushed, folks. You hate to see that. But don't worry, he's back up and walking. You hate to see that. Whenever an official takes a digger, man, it's never funny. It's hilarious. So now we're going to try it again. As the wind is starting to pick up here. Oh, I could make Chuck Yoder falling jokes all day, folks, but that's not what I'm paid to do. Austin Garrison's going to try it again here. He's going to bring him down and put him into the box. Oliver Askew alongside. And then it's going to be Danny Formal in third. Colin Daly, the Jamaican, in fourth. Mazzafaro on the Burrell in fifth. Costa in sixth. Hargraves in seventh. Matthewson in eighth. Livingston ninth. Myers on the I-cart in 10th. Munoz 11th. Shrippa in 12th. LeGrand 13th. Whittington, Alden, and Gilboa. Your field in Shifter Rock Senior. Then it's Davidson, LeGrand, Jimenez, Bartz, and Bagari. Taylor Jocelyn crosses his arms at the back of their grid. We're going to go to the flag. Cameron Egger, let's go Shifter Racing. They drop the flag. Everybody gets away cleanly. We're off down into turn number 1. Austin Garrison does a good job. Danny Formal does as well. He's up into second as they roll through the chicane. Now out of 3. They're already into 4. Formal and Garrison had a great battle in Miami 1 month ago. Well, don't worry, folks. You're going to get to see Chapter 2 here in Ocala. Garrison brings them out of 6th. They head for the tree, turn 7. Now up over the dogleg into 8th. Garrison with a 4-cart length lead down into 9. 1 lap in the books. Garrison, your leader. We got one slow cart coming down here. It looks like he looped it coming into turn number 9. That's going to be the 466. That's Don Whittington. He had a good run at the Challenge of the Americas in Tucson 2 weeks ago. Came down here, decided to jump in the Rock Shifter. You know what? That's a little miscue on the opening lap of the race, but don't count him out. He is a super fast driver. Whittington, not one to stay in the back for long. Down to complete lap number 2. Garrison out in front, but Formal coming quick. Askew, though, your quickest driver on the track, thanks to a 35.917. There you see a live look. Garrison leading. Formal right through 3. Danny all over Austin's back bumper. They come out of 3, down into the 180, turn number 4. Formal is there. He wants to give Garrison a shot. Not close enough. It's Garrison, Formal, and Askew all over each other. They come now down into turn number 7, the tree turn. Now over the dog leg. 8, they head for 9. Garrison defending. Formal is all over Austin Garrison. They come down the straightaway. Now Formal takes a look down into 1. He takes a look and he takes the spot. Garrison's going to get freight trained. Askew comes along for the ride. New leader, Danny Formal. Oliver Askew comes along as well, up into 2nd. Garrison goes from 1st back to 3rd. Folks, this is going to be a good race all weekend long. Danny Formal out in front on the DR cart. Askew on the Burrell in 2nd. Garrison on the Tony cart in 3rd. Then behind them, Juan Acosta, Colin Daly, and Mazzafaro are having themselves an old-fashioned disco as they fight for fourth on back. Now, Askew walks it down to the inside. He picks up the lead. Oliver Askew now to the front. Formal led 1 lap and 1 lap only as he also managed to lay down the fastest lap. Oliver Askew goes from third to second, now to first, 35.917. That was his quickest lap a little while ago. Oliver Askew back up in front, 35.917, quick lap of the race. Formal wants to take a look on the inside of 9, not close enough. They unwind the steering wheel. They set up for the long run down the straightaway. Garrison's going to rip a piece of tape off the radiator. She's running hot. Going to try and close back up on Formal. Danny's right where he wants to be in relation to Oliver Askew. Less than a half a cart length back. They come out of 3, now into 4. Behind them, it's a log jam. Fourth on back, Acosta, Myers, Daly, Mazafaro, Livingston, and Sharippa. Cole Mathewson rounds out the top 10, but your front 3 are what we're watching now. Askew out in front. They come out of 8, down the back straightaway, into 9. Oliver looks good. Formal losing a little bit of ground each lap. Last time by 1/10 of a second. Let's see what it is here. Stays right at about 1/10 of a second from P1 back to P2. A little bit farther down, let's talk about our Masters drivers. Victor Jimenez leads the way over Scott Davidson and Michelle Legrand. Bartz is 4th, but Gary 5th. Your front 3 nose to tail as they come out of turn 5. Now they head for 6. Behind them, you see a beautiful shot of 4th to 10th all over each other. What does Formal have for Askew? As they come onto the back straightaway once again, they're going to see 5 to go. These cats are flying out here right now. Folks, if you're in the OGP property and you're not watching these kids battle it out, and Rock Shifter Sr., I feel bad for you, because this racing is awesome right now. That is the fun part about these Rock Cup USA weekends. One of the many fun parts is getting to see the shifter carts come out and play. And, man, when you put them on a bull ring like Ocala Grand Prix, the racing is always going to be good. We might try to move back here and pick up this battle for 4th, 5th, and 6th if we can, as the top 3 seem to have calmed down just a touch. There we go. The front 3 way out in front. A.J. Myers doing an awesome job. He's in 4th all by himself. Mayo Livingston right there in 5th. Another OGP driver. And then Juan Acosta is 6th. Colin Daly 7th. Mazafaro, Alden, and LeGrand. Your top 10. Jason Alden making the move up from Shifter Rock Masters to Shifter Rock Senior. I guess that'd be the move down in weight class and age. There's Daly on the inside of the 411. Colin Daly picks up 6th position from Juan Acosta. Colin Daly, the Jamaican driver, running very well out here. There you see him. He's going to move up to 6th. 5th is still Livingston. 4th, Myers, running very well by himself on the American-made chassis, the I-Cart. And then 3rd is still Garrison. Danny Formal in 2nd. Oliver Askew, your leader, as they come out of the infield. Askew doing a good job pulling away from Formal and company. Last time by 0.3 of a second. Askew back to Formal. Let's see if it grows this time by. They'll see the sticks when they get there. 2 laps to go for Oliver Askew. And the lead stabilizes right at 0.3. How does Danny Formal answer back now? If he absolutely pushes here, I think he can still make a run at Oliver. But on these Bridgestone tires, they're a softer compound. You got to save a little bit in the tank, I think. And, man, you're going to be starting where you did in this heat race in the next 2 tomorrow, which for Formal means 3rd. That's a great starting spot. We saw him launch right up to the 2nd spot there in this race. Danny sits back there and keeps a few bullets in the gun. I think he will be sitting pretty. White flag flies now. Oliver Askew, your leader. That's a good shot of, it should be Farshad Bagheri, I believe, in the 505. There we pick up your leader, Oliver Askew. Out of turn 3 now, up into turn number 4. And Oliver has just done what he knows how to do best, put in solid lap after solid lap. Formal has been fast, but not fast enough. 3 corners to go, now 2 corners to go. As they'll hit 8, they head for 9. Oliver Askew, last time by 0.4 of a second over Formal. He made his debut in this class a year ago at this track, and he's done pretty well since. Oliver Askew scores the victory in Shifter Rock Senior. How about those crazy Shifter Rock Masters drivers. We should see them at the line here momentarily. Victor Jimenez, they all fan out across the line, and it's going to be Jimenez holding off Scott Davidson. Christian Bartz comes home third. Michelle Legrand rounds out the top four there in Shifter Masters. But it's Askew getting the job done in senior. Formal in second. Garrison third. Myers fourth. Livingston fifth. Daly sixth. Acosta seventh. Mazzafaro eighth. Legrand ninth. And Jason Alden. Good run for him in the 10th position in Shifter Rock Senior. So that'll do it for our Shifties. They are done. We should only have 2 more heat races to go, I believe, and that's going to be Micro Rock. Those drivers are on grid now. And then Junior Rock. And just like that, folks, the fun is done here at Ocala Grand Prix. Hey, don't forget to email us at live@floridawintertour.com if you have a shout-out, a comment, a suggestion, a concern. Maybe you just want to know how the weather is. It's windy, but it's sunny. So stick with us, folks. This is live coverage of the 2016 Sofina Foods Florida Winter Tour. I'm Tony Laporta. We'll see you back for Micro Rock Heat Race number 1 here in just a moment.
The 2016 Sofina Florida Winter Tour. Presented by Fixie Wheels. In partnership with Motorsport.com and Ritmo Mundo.
So as we rejoin the on-track action here at Ocala Grand Prix, it's time for our last 2 heat races of the day. Micro Rock on the track now, our youngest drivers. And, man, sometimes these kids put on some of the best racing you're going to see all weekend. Let's try and get through the starting order nice and quick for you. It's going to be Miles Hewitt starting 17th starting 33rd in Kart 17. Esteban Jimenez and Tanner Garvin make up row 16. Danny Dyslexy and Eli Truel make up row 15th. Jesse Caracueto starts 28th with Frankie Ayadavea in 27th. Elliot Cox starts 26th with Noah Baker in the number 49, 25th. Victor Cirillo starts off 24th with Ian Leone in 23rd. Jack Jeffers and Riker Mattis make up row number 11. Jacob Kohler and Granger Para start 20th and 19th, respectively. Then it's Anderson Leonard and Creation Pastrain in the 18th and 17th positions. Ernesto Bueno starts 16th with Pedro Caparelli in 15th. Sebastian Guerra rolls off 14th, while it's Leonardo Juncos in the 3, starting 13th. Emo Fittipaldi will start 12th with Miguel Costa in 11th. Nikita Johnson and Freddie Slater make up row 5. Well, it's Lucas Rodriguez and Brandon Carr in row 4. Paige Crawford starts 6th with Connor Zilish in 5th. Brent Cruz, Jeremy Fletcher, Nicholas Terlecki, and Oliver Denny are going to bring them down to see the green flag here in Micro Rock. Folks, let's get ready to go. No, they give them the old index finger, letting them know that we're going to go around one more time. So that's our first waved off rolling start of the day here on Friday afternoon. So that means I can go through the starting order one more time. Let's take a look at those front 5 rows. Nikita Johnson starts 10th in the number 7 machine, and then it's Freddie Slater in the number 27 on the inside starting 9th. Lucas Rodriguez, we saw really good racing out of that driver back in Homestead. He starts 8th on the number 95 machine. Brandon Carr rolls 7th in the number 25 machine. Paige Crawford out of New York. She had a really good run in qualifying. She was here along with several other drivers at the club race last weekend. She's going to roll 6th thanks to a 41.3 in qualifying. Zilish at a 41.2. He starts 1 spot better in 5th. Brent Cruz in the number 11 starts 4th with Jeremy Fletcher on the inside of row number 2 and 3rd. In the front row sees the 88 of Terlecki and the number 43 of Oliver Denny. Oliver Denny with a 41 flat in qualifying. Very impressive time there. So let's try it again here. Micro Rock drivers looking for the green flag. Cam Egger, no! They wave them off again. And these kids, I think what's going on, I don't have a radio on me, but what I'm going to guess is that they're completing these warm-up laps awful quickly. And that probably means that the officials just are not liking the straightaway speed when they get down to the final corner, and they're just coming out of that turn number 9 carousel awful fast. Oliver Denny and Nicholas Terlecki have got to slow this field down. They're moving around the track right now, even on the backside, very quickly. These kids have got to knock probably 5 to 8 mile an hour off if they want to see the green flag here. Denny was quick in qualifying, and that's awesome. But he just needs to slow it down a little bit here before he sees the green flag. Nicholas Terlecki, same thing. It's the front rows at a nice, slow, and reasonable pace. If they can't get it this time by, and they look much better here, Chuck Yoder now out in the middle of the track, signaling responsibility to bring the field down. Yeah, this is a much better looking grid. No, they're going to swap the front row, it looks like. Have they? Yeah, I believe they just swapped the front row, so that's going to put Fletcher and Cruz up to the front row. Chuck Yoder jogs back to the other side. He's going to slow him down. They have swapped the front row. So now it's Fletcher and Cruz's turn to get this thing started. It looks much better, and it does. We go green, but the outside row gets a huge jump as Jeremy Fletcher and Brent Cruz brought him down. We did see a green flag that time by, but the outside line had a really good roll there through the opening 2 corners. They make their way out of turns 4. Now they head for 5. Let's take a look as they get back to us here at the running order. They make their way through the infield section. Looks like everybody got away cleanly. I don't see any yellow flags flying. I don't see any carts off for the most part. We do have one driver. Field comes down to complete the opening lap here. Let's see. It should be Brent Cruz, and it is. The number 11, Brent Cruz, out in front. Pushed back off the track over in turn 4, but behind him, it's going to be the number 88 of Nicholas Terlecki with impromptu pole sitter Jeremy Fletcher in 3rd. Original pole sitter Oliver Denny scored that time in the 4th position. They make their way around to complete lap number 2 here. Brent Cruz, the beneficiary of a swapped front row. He and Jeremy Fletcher brought him down. And Fletcher did a good job at keeping that inside line nice and slow. Cruz had a little bit more speed, and that allowed that outside line to get a big jump. Brent Cruz, your leader here as they come down and complete lap number 2. Now Terlecki pulls out a line. They head down the front straightaway. Terlecki looks for the lead, and he's got it. Nicholas Terlecki up to the top spot now. That drops Brent Cruz now back to second. That should be Jeremy Fletcher, who was originally gridded up third. Started on pole. He runs third currently, back where he qualified. So Fletcher third, Brent Cruz second, Terlecki out in front. Although Fletcher takes a look on the inside of Cruz as they head into 7, can't get anything done. And then it should be the 43, your qualified pole sitter, Oliver Denny, in fourth. He is your quickest card on track, 41.686. Yep, Denny is right there. It's a 4-cart train up front. Battle for second, possibly, no. Fletcher wanted to take a look on the inside of Brent Cruz. Wasn't close enough. And, man, Fletcher needs to be careful because as he opens the door, Oliver Denny's going to step on through to the other side. No, Fletcher battles back on the inside. He holds the position. Fletcher stays in third. Oliver Denny in fourth. Now he shoots out wide as they head into 7. Denny's there, and he's through cleanly. Oliver Denny now up a spot around Jeremy Fletcher for the third position. That allows Brent Cruz and Nicholas Terlecki to start to drive away. Down the straightaway, 6 to go as we've reached 4 down, 6 to go in this 10-lap race. Good fights up here at the front between Cruz, Denny, and Fletcher. Meanwhile, Connor Zillish, your quickest driver on the track. He goes a 41.2 last time by. He is scored 5th, right behind these guys. But Zillish has got Lucas Rodriguez right on his back bumper. There's your leaders. The front 4, the 88, Terlecki, the 11, Brent Cruz, the 43, Oliver Denny, and the number 22, Fletcher. It looks like Zillish may have lost a position to Lucas Rodriguez. We'll see as they come by. Clouds cover the track now. Now we see Brent Cruz taking a look on the inside. He's there and with a shove from Oliver Denny. He is into the lead. New leader, Brent Cruz in the number 11. Oliver Denny advances up to second. He's just trying to get back to where he started. And right there, he throws it to the inside in 4, and he's through. Your pole sitter, Oliver Denny, now back to the front after an inside pass in turn 4. Denny up to the top. He brings the 88 of Terlecki with him. Your original front row now finally back, running 1-2 as they qualified. Denny's going to bring him into turn number 9 to complete lap number 6. 4 to go here in this 10-lap race. Good race there by Oliver Denny. He kept the level head on him and didn't let that opening, those warm-up laps get to his conscience at all. He's able to drive back to the top spot here. Nicholas Terlecki comes along for the ride. Boy, Jeremy Fletcher and Brent Cruz having a good battle as well. No, Fletcher's gotten around Terlecki. Jeremy Fletcher up into second. Terlecki, though, trying to stay right on him, and he does a good job as they come out of 7. One driver drops a wheel on the entry into that little dog leg. Turn number 8, dust flies, but everybody stays in the right direction. Terlecki, though, dropping like a stone. There's Denny, your leader. Fletcher in second. Brent Cruz third. And then in fourth, this time by, it's going to be scored as Terlecki, but he's got Connor Zillish right on his back bumper. Now he's got him right alongside. Now he's got him out in front. Zillish around Terlecki for the 4th position. Lucas Rodriguez is going to go after Terlecki as well. You can bet that, as they're going to see the sticks when they get to the other side of turn 9 here. Cam Egger's going to show them 2 to go. Denny, man, driving a fantastic race. Puts his head down that time by. Lays down a good lap. The lead over Fletcher, 1.2 seconds. Cruz up to third, Zillish fourth, Terlecki fifth. What about Rodriguez, though? Does he have enough to crack the top 5 here? Zillish not done yet with Terlecki as they continue to fight. They go back and forth. Terlecki currently has the position. Zillish wants to take a look on the inside at 5. No, can't get it done. He's got Rodriguez breathing down his neck. So Terlecki currently in the 4th position. Zillish in 5th. And Lucas Rodriguez still just trying to claw as far up as he can. He takes a look down to the inside in 9. Zillish having to defend on the outside. He's there. They're wheel to wheel. Zillish holds him off. White flag flies. Zillish and Rodriguez. This fight is between the 2 of them now for the 5th position. Terlecki starting to drive away. Meanwhile, our leaders in the infield. Oliver Denny just trying to bring that thing home in one piece. Can he have a perfect weekend? Well, it's easier to get one when you start it off on the right foot. Grabs the pole in qualifying. He's half a lap away from grabbing the first heat race win. Out of turn number 8, over the dogleg. They head to turn number 9. Oliver Denny gets the pole, and now he's going to get heat race number 1. Denny, out of the United Kingdom, scores the win on the Bennick. Fletcher rallies to second, then it's Brent Cruz in third. Terlecki holds him off for fourth, and it's Connor Zilish rounding out your top 5. Lucas Rodriguez comes home 6th. Then it's Brandon Carr. Good run for him. The Bennick driver finishing 7th. Nikita Johnson 8th. Freddie Slater 9th. And Paige Crawford, after starting 6th, holds on for a solid top 10 finish as she rounds out your top 10 here. Emo Fittipaldi comes home 11th. Pastrain 12th. Costa 13th. Bueno 14th. And Guerra 15th. Anderson Leonard comes home 16th with Victor Cirillo 17th. Ian Sebastian Leon 18th. Eli Troll and Jesse Caracueto complete the top 20. Folks, we've only got one more heat race to go, but it's going to be a good one. I can promise you that. Junior Rock drivers making their way into their carts now. They have filled the grid. When we get back, we're going to tell you who starts where in our final heat race of the day. This is live coverage of the 2016 Sofina Foods Florida Winter Tour presented by Fixie Wheels.
The 2016 Sofina Florida Winter Tour. Presented by Fixie Wheels. In partnership with Motorsport.com and Ritmo Mundo.
So we're back, and just in time for our final heat race of the day, folks, and it's going to be a good one. Trust you that. Not just because Chris Wheeler's back in the booth with me, because it's going to be a group of very talented drivers. Junior Rock on the track now. Let's take a look at how they're going to line up. Starting in row 12, the 222 of Max Hewitt with Andres Karam starting 23rd. Willie Lambros and Mark Donato start in row number 11. Joseph Galino and Lachlan DiFrancesco make up row 10, while Antonio Saravalli and Jose Alvarado make up row number 9. The 211 of Gillart and the 280 of Petrulli make up row 8, while it's Michael Stevens and Jet Noland in row 7. Vincenzo Saracino start 12th with Nicholas Sanchez in 11th. Zachary Hollingshead gets things started off inside the top 10 with Pedro Lopes in 9th. Anthony Zappone starts 8th with Arias Duke Medjin in 7th. Ryan McDermott had a great weekend in Homestead. He's trying to double up here in Ocala. He starts 6th with Matt Latifi in the 5th position. Brothers D'Orlando make up row number 2. Nicholas on the outside, Michael on the inside. And then on the front row, bringing them down for the final green flag of the day. It's going to be Tyler Gonzalez on the outside, Ramirez on the inside, Cam Ager. Let's go racing. They take off into turn number 1. Those D'Orlandos are hungry right off the bat. But Matias Ramirez does a good job at maintaining that top spot as you see him fly into turn 3 right now. Ramirez has got Michael D'Orlando right behind him. Ramirez comes down a little ways to defend as they head into 4 now out of 5. They'll head for 6. It's a fast corner right there. You carry a ton of speed. D'Orlando already searching for the opportunity to pass Ramirez out of 7 over the dog leg in 8th. They head for the showcase turn number 9. Out of the final corner, 1 lap down, Ramirez, your leader.
D'Orlando knows at this time you cannot try and outrun Matias Ramirez here at OGP on a long run. If you're going to beat him, you're going to have to get in front of him and slow him down early. As they head off turn number 3 for the second time, the gap opening big time over Latifi here. So it's now a 2-man breakout up front early. Turn number 5 now on the exit. Here comes turn number 6. Headed to the right-hander at 7. Half a cart length separates them. Back to power they go. Here comes the little kink. Headed now to the showcase turn. 3 cart length. The advantage for Matias Ramirez. DiOrlando all over him in the little small braking zone. Back to power, 1-2 still as they cross the line.
I'll tell you what, Michael DiOrlando's carrying a ton of speed on the exit of turn number 6, that very fast corner out of the infield section, and I think that's going to be where you could really see a good setup for a pass down to the tree, turn number 7 on Ramirez.
Last time by, Matias Ramirez goes purple, 38-115 to the 38-148 of Michael DiOrlando. Then it's a 38-3 for Latifi. So those top two laying down some big ones early here, Tony Laporta.
I'll tell you what, Latifi, it's good to see them get that Junior Rock program finally figured out. They had a little bit of a struggle in Homestead, but I'll tell you what, Steve Chapman and the boys over there, they have got that hot rod hooked up. He runs third right now. Then it's Duke Medjin in fourth. Ryan McDermott up to fifth. Little brother Nicholas DiOrlando sixth. Off pole starter Tyler Gonzalez slips to seventh. Petrulli eighth. Pedro Lopes and Nicholas Sanchez, your top 10. And Chris, I think this race has the chance to become quite a huckabuck, just like in Homestead.
Yeah, that is definitely something that could happen. Here as you see him drive down the far back straightaway one more time into the left-hand showcase turn. Exit shot. So important for the long run down into turn number 1. 2 cart lengths separate him. DiOrlando goes purple here. 37.760 to Ramirez is 37.775.177 separated your leaders that time by. Now into turn number 5. DiOrlando all over the backside of Ramirez. But Matias Ramirez, one driver you will never want to bet against here at Ocala Grand Prix. As you can see, he extends his lead now about 3 cart lengths through the showcase here. Down the front straightaway, up on the wheel. Purple now for Matias Ramirez. 37.659 to the 37.730 of DiOrlando. 2.248 the gap that time by Tony Laporta. DiOrlando not going anywhere, but to get to him is one thing, to pass him is a whole nother.
Michael DiOrlando getting up on that wheel every time they fly down the front straightaway here, and that's helping that aero advantage just a little bit. You tuck the head behind the steering wheel, and that's going to get you just a tick more speed. When you're battling against a guy like Ramirez, sometimes that's all the difference is just a tick more speed. They come down to complete what's going to be lap number 6. They both don't go purple. DiOrlando manages to go his best lap yet, though, a 37.7. Ramirez, a 37.6. Oh, man, Matias Ramirez still flying out here right now. And watch out because Ryan McDermott is starting to close in as well. Him and Latifi just might have something for these top 2, I think, Chris.
Tony Laporta, I think you are wrong again. Your leaders are long gone here in this heat race. Nobody's going to catch the front 2. It's going to be one of these 2 guys getting the win. And I'll tell you the advantage Ramirez has right now. He is so consistent. He has driven so many laps here that he knows every lap what small adjustment he's going to have to make behind that wheel as the tires start to wear just that little bit more. In fact, everywhere that you watch right now, Michael DiOrlando potentially overdriving a couple of the corners, trying to chase too hard getting in, not getting off the corner as well as Ramirez here in some of the, I would say, the 4, the 5, and even turn number 9.
We pick up the battle for 4th place. That's Ryan McDermott, the Canadian who ran so well at Homestead last month. And the New York driver, Nicholas DiOrlando, little brother, runs 5th to Ryan McDermott in 4th as they come out of the showcase down the front straightaway. And then right behind them, it's going to be the 257, Tyler Gonzalez, the 299 of Duke Medjin, Petrulli, Sanchez, and Lopes, your top 10. But the battle you're watching on your monitor right now is between the 216 of McDermott and the 215 of young Nicholas DiOrlando. Man, Nicholas really doing a good job on Ryan McDermott. But I've talked to a few people in the paddock, and they think Ryan McDermott is one of the candidates for most improved driver from the 2015 Winter Tour to the 2016 edition.
Well, everything you think about, it's all about how you look at it, Tony. So I'm going to stay off that one. But I'm going to give a shout out here to Nicholas DiOrlando for one reason. You talk about somebody who's come a long way. His second event here with us in Rockin' Jr. and the big change, Adam Johnson. He's back after being gone with the United States Air Force for 6 months, back on the wrenches, back with that bond that those two have. And if you've ever wondered how important the people you work with, from the driver's standpoint, how important that truly is in the big vision, look at Nicholas DiOrlando this weekend. He's a totally different kid, and he's doing one heck of a job here on the backside of McDermott.
Certainly, the chemistry between Adam Johnson and young DiOrlando certainly cannot be understated whatsoever. As we see the sticks now, 2 to go. Cameron Egger letting them know we don't have a lot of racing left to go today, folks. Matias Ramirez, his lead over Michael DiOrlando, 0.3 of a second. We continue to watch that battle for the 4th position. Ryan McDermott and Nicholas DiOrlando, 4th and 5th right there. Every finishing position this weekend is going to count, Chris, because where you finish accumulates points throughout all 3 of these heat races. Lowest point total is going to start on pole in that pre-final, and then how you run in that pre-final dictates where you start in the main event.
So white flag flies here in Junior Rock. Matias Ramirez stretching it out just a little bit more that time. 4.5 of a second lead for the young man on the Ocala Grand Prix Tony Kart through turn number 3.
We rejoin our leaders, Matias Ramirez, Michael DiOrlando, and Chris, you've talked about it all race. You cannot bet against a kid like Matias Ramirez many places we go, especially when the track we're at is the name on his suit, OGP, the home track driver. 1 corner to go here. He's going to bring him down to see the checkered flags waving. Scoring the victory here in Junior Rock to bring Friday to a close. It's going to be the 2:58, Matias Ramirez. Going purple on the last lap, might I add. 37.472. Talk about saving your best for last. That is exactly what Matias Ramirez did. Chris Wheeler, is always an honor and a pleasure to have someone of your caliber on the mic. Have a good evening. Chris is already out of here. Michael DiOrlando comes home second behind Matias Ramirez, and then Matt Latifi ends up in third. Ryan McDermott ends up fourth with young brother Nicholas DiOrlando rounding out the top 5. Tyler Gonzalez comes home sixth, another one of the OGP drivers, with Arias Duke Medjin in 7th. Nicholas Sanchez 8th with Gabriel Petrulli in 9th. Jet Nolan, the PK Sports driver, rounds out the top 10. Zach Hollingshead was 11th with Antonio Saravalli 12th. Vincenzo Cercino 13th. Pedro Lopes 14th, and Anthony Zapponi rounds out the top 15. Max Hewitt rallies very well after starting at the back to finish 16th. Joe Galino 17th. Michael Stevens 18th. Pedro Gouliart and Jose Alvarado, your top 20. So, folks, that'll do it from Ocala, Florida this afternoon. 3 rounds of morning practice, qualifying, and our first round of heat races all in the books. We had a lot of fun, and I think we're finally dried off from Homestead a month ago. We're here in sunny Ocala, and we are having a great time. That'll do it for the on-track action today. For Chris Wheeler, Scott Nelson, and myself, we want to thank you for tuning in and watching live. Let's check in maybe one more time and see if we have any shout-outs to read while things are quiet here. What do you say about that, Mr. Producer? Let's take a look and make sure nobody sent us any shout-outs. All right. So send more shout-outs tomorrow, folks. We want to tell everybody here at the track you're watching and saying hi. So, again, that'll do it from Ocala this Friday afternoon. Great run in qualifying and the heat races. We'll be back with rounds 2 and 3 of the heat races tomorrow. For Chris Wheeler, I'm Tony Laporta. Be sure to tune in live for more coverage of the 2016 Sofina Foods Florida Winter Tour tomorrow afternoon.
The 2016 Sofina Florida Winter Tour. Presented by Fixie Wheels. In partnership with Motorsport.com and Ritmo Mundo.